But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It's Wednesday night, and that's one of the nights we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming on DLive, we are streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube, we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, that is a digital radio station, and we're having a good time. We're taking your calls tonight, as always, as part of the transparency process of this show, and the way a conversation should happen, it goes two ways. I'm the guy on the microphone, but that doesn't mean I'm right about everything. Of course, it probably means the opposite. But if we do this together and we have a good conversation and we lean on each other, we learn from each other and we grow together. And that's really the basis of this show. That's why we've done it in a live format, even in the old days when nobody was listening, when nobody out there heard what was going on. We still had a live phone number and we were taking phone calls. Well, we were begging for phone calls back then. But the point is that it's, you know, a good conversation goes two ways. And as part of the transparency process, we do have a phone number up. We've always had it up. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord as well. We have a live Discord running, and you can join the show that way. And you can find the phone number and the Discord link at our official website. That would be troubledminds.org. That's troubledminds.org. That has everything you need there. That's got the podcast. That's got the phone number. It's got the Discord link. It's got everything you need to be part of this show, to come join the community and say hi to the lots of smart folks that have been a part of this journey. This week marks 3 years. 3 years of this show. This 3 years ago, I just got a notification on Twitter, of all places, that said, "Yeah, congratulations! It's your 3 years ago today." This was actually a couple days ago, but 3 years ago, you joined Twitter. Would you like to send out a anniversary tweet? And I was like, hell no. Why would I want to do that? But I do want to talk about the fact that we've been at this 3 years, and I'm very, very proud of that. Try and do anything for 3 years, right? Literally just try and I don't know, wear the same color socks for 3 years, right? It's nearly impossible just because of the way life works, right? It's hard to juggle things all the time. It's hard. Life happens. It's really difficult to continue something and keep a project up like this. And so I'm very, very proud of that. I'd love to thank all the people that were here for all of it as we started with nobody listening. And here we are now, quite a bit different than that. So thank you guys for all that. Thanks for the good conversation. Let's have another one tonight. So here's the thing, right? I was speaking of conversations, we were having a conversation a couple nights ago, and this was on the Fringe FM Discord. So if you guys have not joined the Fringe FM Discord, please do. Lots of smart people over there as well. You can go to fringe.fm/chat, and that will give you a direct invite to their Discord there. And I'm watching the chat there. I'm watching the chat on Facebook, watching the chat on DLive and YouTube and everywhere else. So if you're out there chatting, I'm reading it, and we're talking about it. But the subject tonight goes back to that conversation that happened a couple nights back on the Fringe FM Discord. And we had some folks in there talking about animals and how the animals, dogs, cats, pets, these sorts of things have this bizarre sixth sense, right? And so it kind of got started from there and got me thinking a little bit. And I'd love to hear your stories tonight. If you guys think that animals, let's say, can see spirits, or do you think that they just have a sort of sixth sense that humans don't have because it's innate? It's like a natural thing. It's built into what they are and what they do, right? As everybody knows, dogs have that superior sense of smell and hearing, but they don't make dinner very well. So there's that. But that's what we're talking about tonight: the animals that have a sixth sense. And do you think there's anything a little more than scientific about it? Meaning that have you ever had a cat that sat there and stared at the corner, right, and just kind of pawed at the air, wondering what the heck was going on with this cat? But do you think they were seeing something that maybe had crossed over in the dimensional sense? You see what I'm saying? Were they very much like that movie? What's that movie? The I See Dead People. What's the name of that movie? It's been such a long time. I can't remember, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Can animals see dead people? Do they have this particular sixth sense that's not natural? And there's plenty of stories, plenty of evidence, kind of through the ages, where people have these stories and they've been talking about these things. We'll get into familiar spirits, guardian angels, some of that stuff tonight. Like there's a little bit of that kind of has some synchronicity to this topic. But so we're looking to hear from you, of course. Love to hear your stories on what you think about this topic. If you have any animals that have maybe in the past been able to 6 minute abs, I see in the chat, guys. But have you ever had any animals that were able to maybe sense things that you had not? So let's get into some of this and talk about this tonight. Again, looking to hear from you guys and your stories on this. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'm going to start with this. This is from ranker.com. And this is just kind of a generic list of animals that have a scientific type sixth sense, right? Meaning that they can do things that humans can't, of course, because they're animals. We all have our different skills and abilities, right? But here we go. Just a quick list to kind of round this out and start the conversation here, and see that there's lots of critters out there that can do some amazing things that humans would consider a sixth sense. But of course, science would kind of differ, right? I mean, I guess it depends on the scientist you're talking to. But here's one. So this is from ranker.com, and the first one here's some interesting ones. These are not really cuddly pet types, but spiders can measure their prey and predators just by sensing them. And then so they do possess some truly incredible abilities that that allow many to sit atop the food chain, and that's the spiders here. All spiders contain a mechanoreceptor organ called slit sensilla, which allows them to sense the smallest physical deformations or strains on their exoskeleton. Spiders also use these organs to judge the size, weight, and perhaps even the kind of prey that gets caught in their web. Their slit sensilla can be so discerning that spiders can tell the difference between prey, a predator, and even a strong gust of wind. Right, so I think given spiders are creepy crawly, that's probably not the best example to start with here, but it is tops on the list, of course, because who likes spiders, right? But anyway, so you get the point. They're able to sense these things without the standard, 5 senses of humans, and so of course that's kind of what we're talking about tonight. And if animals have these extrasensory organs or perceptions or whatever this happens to be, do you think it's all science or do you think it's something else? That's really the question tonight. Here we go. How about pigeons? Pigeons are a little more cuddly than, I guess that's a bad word, cuddly for pigeons, but more cuddly than a spider, let's say. But anyway, so one reason pigeons are found in so many parts of the world is because they have incredible migratory power, thanks to a special sense called magnetoreception, which is a structure in their beaks that contains iron. Pigeons can detect the Earth's magnetic field, allowing them to pinpoint exactly where they are and where they need to go. This incredible skill is one of the reasons why homing pigeons were the first form of airmail, which dates back to 3,000 years ago. One of the coolest instances of homing pigeons was being used to proclaim the champions of the Olympic Games in ancient Greece. And again, this is straight from ranker.com, a list of animals with a sixth sense. But of course, we're talking about household pets. We'll get to there, and we'll get to your stories on that a little bit later. But that's the thing is, so as we see, science has really identified that animals all over the animal kingdom have different natural innate abilities. And the question really comes up as, because of this, is it a natural thing that it's been whispered for millennia, basically, that cats or dogs can see spirits? They can see dead people. They can see ghosts. Can they sense this electromagnetic spectrum, or is there something else going on here, right? That's really the question. Here's another one, and funny, Tim actually just said dolphin hive mind in the chat. Reading the chat, guys. What's up? I see you guys out there. So here's another one. The dolphin's incredible intelligence could be considered a sixth sense on its own, as they are possibly the smartest animals on the planet after humans. But their actual sixth sense is even more impressive. Dolphins use of echolocation allow these animals to pinpoint what is in the water with them, including friends and foes. Echolocation relies on producing high-pitched clicks and squeals that travel through the ocean and bounce off obstructions, returning to a receptor in the dolphin's head called a melon, M-E-L-O-N. Pretty good stuff, right? And this is, this list goes on and on and on. There's the pit vipers, and there's sharks and all kinds of things, right? And that's just to start, just kind of get this conversation going tonight. The animal kingdom is pretty incredible, and I think that we'd all admit that there's really, just science is amazing, and animals are amazing, and that's why we talk about these things, because sometimes there's a little more than meets the eye, right? So we've all heard of witches and their cat familiars, right? Like these types of things, and familiar spirits, which we'll get into in the second half here. We'll kind of get into some of this other stuff. But that's the question tonight. We all know the animal kingdom has all kinds of incredible sixth sense, right? Sixth senses that humans would consider as such. Like Dennis says in the chat there, bats have radar, right? And there's a ton. There are a ton of these type of instances that you can kind of point to different animals in the animal kingdom that have these incredible abilities. But what about the good old house cat, right? What about the good old the good old dog, the good old canine Rover, right? Interesting that we were kind of talking a little bit about this last night with bringing back the carrier pigeon, and they end up at the homing pigeon. They end up right here on the same list. We were talking about the de-extinction last night and being able to bring back extinct animals, using their DNA. So interesting that the same critter kind of comes up 2 nights in a row on this list here. So definitely good stuff. Lots of good stuff in the chat. Kind of reading this, scanning, trying to keep up. What's up? MJ says I used to rescue pigeons. Oh, there you go. Right. So I'm sure. I don't know a lot about pigeons in particular, but I'm sure that they have probably an amazing amount of that quote sixth sense. Right. Let's see. There's some more here. Let's keep going down the list. Just to start this conversation and really throw a kind of a wide net out there about what kind of animals have what abilities, right? And then we're going to be able to maybe home that into cats and dogs and the rest of this stuff, and really talk about if this is real, if the dog barking in the corner, those types of stories, that something unseen is actually your dog detecting something paranormal, right? Let's see. How about this one? A platypus can feel other animals' heartbeats, right? They have an electroreceptive sense within the skin of their duck-like bill that allows them to sense their prey when it comes near the platypus or its family. Scientists say platypuses can feel signals produced by other animals' heartbeat or nerves. Their bill is also lined with mechanoreceptors, which give them an ability to sense tiny stimuli, as the bill behaves much like a human's fingertips. When you see a platypus hunt in the water, it shakes its head from side to side as a way to enhance the sense. It will sift its bill through the river's sedimentary floor to sense its prey, picking up any vibrations in the water. Pretty good stuff there. What else do we got? There's a whole list here. Let's see. Here we go. Somebody mentioned this. How about the bat? And the echolocation. Here we go. So bats might scare some people, of course, but they can fly at night because they don't have great eyesight, right? It's because of their ability to use the echolocation. And insectivorous bats, I'm kind of going through this article sloppily, pardon me, are able to fly through dark caves and the night sky in search of their prey thanks to their larynx's ability to generate ultrasound through their mouth and nose. Much like the dolphin, the bat's echolocation paints a three-dimensional view of the world around them. In fact, the reason many insectivorous bats have wrinkled faces is because they act much like the inside of an ear and pick up sound. There you go. The crazy stuff, right? What else do we got? Let's see. There's weatherfish, there's catfish. Well, not so cuddly. Let's go this one. The North American possum's body can feel poison and kill it. How about that? I didn't know that. So the North American possum's most common defense mechanism is its ability to fake its own death, causing predators to lose interest. But what most people don't know is that the opossum has a few tricks up its sleeve. Opossums have one more incredible ability that allows them to literally cheat death. They're able to utilize a protein in their body called LTNF, making them immune to the venom of snakes, bees, and scorpions. Once venom is detected in the opossum's body, the protein actively seeks it out and works to neutralize it. Incredibly, the LTNF protein does not serve as a defense against venomous predators indigenous to that area. It can defend against venom found all over the world. Interesting stuff, right? So again, it kind of just taking it back to where we started here is, have any of you out there had a pet, current or past, that was able to actually sense things that didn't seem to be natural? I know some of you are sensitive out there, as it's called, sensitives or mediums or whatever you want to call it, right? It's been given lots of different names for people that can sense otherworldly things, right? And maybe that extrasensory perception for humans. But with the animals, cats, dogs, pets like this, have any of you actually had one and a story? And that's what we're looking for tonight. If you guys have had a story with this, love to hear from you. And we've got, I know we have one caller coming in just after the break here at the bottom of the hour. We got one coming in right now. But if you believe in this stuff, let me know. I'd love to hear if you guys empath, right? That's what Keith says. So there we go. All right. So we're going to go to We're going to go to Beechwood in Massachusetts. We're going to take this call in just a sec. But looking to hear from you guys tonight. Do you have any instances you can share with us why you think that animals may have a sixth sense? And not just that, the ability to maybe pierce the veil, as it's called, and see spirits or ghosts or any of these other things. So here we go. Let's go to Beechwood from Massachusetts. What's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. Love the topic. I love animals. I have several right now. Right now I have 2 dogs, 2 cats. And about maybe a year and a half ago, I had a third dog I had to put down. She was old. But that was the one I had the personal experience with that I'll get into after I explain a few things. As far as animals having, a sixth sense, that word sixth sense, I think they might even have a seventh sense, maybe even an eighth sense. But animals and creatures in general have special abilities a lot of time that allow them to survive. Like bats use sonar. We know that. That's a great example. Dolphins do. Dolphins are able to shut down half their brain when they sleep. So they don't really sleep. They're kind of awake, kind of not. Largemouth bass have what's called a lateral line, which is an organ that goes through their body and it can sense movement, which is really cool. They still don't 100% understand how that lateral line works. But, I'm a big fisherman, so you study the biology of fish and you figure out where they go. And every creature has this special ability that, gears it to survival, especially with toxins and stuff. Some are more immune to toxins, but also, as humans, there's things that aren't toxic to us that are toxic to animals, and vice versa. And all that can be looked up. That's all real good science. But which you could talk about all day, and I would love to. But what I wanted to talk about was my dog, Molly, who is gone, was a family dog. And when she was about 2 years old, my father passed away. And it was in an accident. He didn't come home. And after that, she turned mean. And she turned into a mean dog. She was nice to me, but she changed. And then he was cremated, my father. So after the funeral, everything happened, and then we got the urn back, and they delivered the urn, and they brought it in, and the dog would not go near it. Not go near it, growling at it, woofing, afraid of it. And every time we brought it in the kitchen, she would go in the other room and just, wouldn't go near it, the tail between the legs. And, she's really happy. We treat our dogs like family. But a noticeable thing, everybody saw it. And, then we just, I don't know, my mother took it upstairs and put it somewhere. But she wouldn't go near the thing. And she loved my father. He was her favorite, as far as dogs. And, so, she definitely there was something about it, that freaked her out. Maybe she knew it was an urn and he was dead, but, we know dogs don't, not that they don't think, but the cognitive thinking like we do. We know that they have emotion. I know that animals have emotion. But I do think they're able to see and sense things that are more paranormal as opposed to real. Like this reality. I don't use the term real loosely. But, a dog can sense a human's blood pressure. A dog can sense a lot of things about humans. Humans also release pheromones. When you're scared, you actually release a scent that I think people might even be able to pick up on it too, because they say that's how attraction works. But animals can smell fear without a doubt. And when they do, that's a lot of times when they... If you've ever seen a dog that knows someone's scared of them and he just keeps, barking. And so that's there. I have cats too, but the cats aren't my thing. I'm a dog guy. I like them, but
a lot of people don't blame you. Hey, can you hang on? I want to hear the rest of the story. Can you hold on for just after the break? We have another call coming right after you as well. Hold tight, okay? We'll get right back to you, okay, Beechwood?
Yep, no problem.
All right, cool. Be right with you. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're talking about animals. Do they have a sixth sense? Are they able to determine somehow what's happening in the paranormal world? That's the topic tonight. That's the discussion. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. Be right back with more. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we are talking about animals that may or may not have a sixth sense. Do you think ordinary house pets have the ability to pierce the veil and see through to the other side? Looking to hear from you tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We've got a caller on the line. Let's go back to Beechwood. We're talking about pets and their sixth sense. What's up, Beechwood? Thanks for hanging out and waiting. Welcome back to the show.
No problem. No problem. And, all right. Well, I was going to finish this story up. As far as the scientific world, look into animals. They do amazing things, and it's all recorded. It's really cool what animals can do. You can spend all day talking about the differences, but I was going to try to focus more on like the paranormal and with my experience and other things I also noticed. Now, with that dog Molly that I spoke about earlier that wouldn't go near the urn, when she got old right before she died, she was like, she was old. She was 13 and a half. And the cat, sensed it. And they liked each other, but the last couple days that she was alive, they slept together. The cat wouldn't leave her side. And I have a very strong connection with animals. I find it amazing that animals do experience love as an emotion. And now that would come down to another topic. Is love an emotion, or is it an actual sense? Is it an entity that exists? Is it just part of survival? But, I felt the connection with the animal. And when she got towards the end, I think animals can sense death, absolutely. But, I sensed it in her, that connection. And, elephants do the same thing, and they go to the elephant graveyard to die. They do know about death and whatnot. But what also interests me a real lot is the connection that people have with animals, and especially with some animals that they've never even had experience with, like lions and tigers. So many people love them, but they've never actually, it's like they admire them, but they've never actually, experienced them. And they say that, they just have this connection with the animal. Oh, they feel they love tigers. They love tigers. Wolves the same way.
Like a spirit
and
animal,
there's definitely
right?
a bond.
Yeah, kind of like a...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's, almost every culture talks about that. But I've noticed, this is I'll finish up, is the bond between animals and humans. I've seen people, when the animals die, they're more distraught than when, a family member dies, like a human. That's how much people care about their animals, and that sense is there. And I think animals have a soul. I think all dogs really do go to heaven. I do, even the bad ones. And that's another cool experiment. Did you ever look up the guy that, when the human body dies, it allegedly loses weight?
I have heard that.
And then they put a dog on the scale, and the weight doesn't change. But I think the dog's soul is so light it gets to go to heaven for free.
Right on. I'm with you. That's a great thought, because I am also a sucker for dogs. They're pretty amazing. I've had some dogs in my time that were really, really fantastic. I appreciate the call, Beechwood. You're the best, my man.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to hear some other animal stories, because I love dogs. All right,
here.
thanks for having me on, man.
All right, yeah, we'll talk to you soon. We got a call right behind you. Here's another animal story. Thanks, man. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts, guys. If you guys want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. You can find the phone number and the Discord link there. Let's go to Alexandra from British Columbia. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing very well. So everybody knows this is Alexandra from the Fringe Discord, and she's actually the one who started the conversation about animals and the Sixth Sense, and we were kind of talking about this the other night, and it spawned an entire show. You've got some stories for us, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's like an amazing topic, really. I don't know, like that the other night when we were all talking on the chat, I don't know, I just thought about, like, I wonder if other people think the same way about animals just having an ability to just be more perceptive than just overall, like, a lot of other animals or humans or anything like that. And, yeah, I have a story that happened a while back when I first got my dog. I think it was about maybe like 4 years ago. And I think that's the thing that first demonstrated to me that definitely there's something more to what we all perceive here in like on planet Earth. And yeah, it was pretty crazy. So what happened is, so we got my dog, and every morning my sister would take him downstairs to the living room, and she would just stay there to chill with him for a little bit while everybody was still asleep. And so it all started when first my dog would just randomly get up from like a really, really deep sleep. And he would just run off to the door of the kitchen, and he would just stand there and just bark like crazy for no reason at all. So he started doing that like a couple of times, different days. But like the craziest one, and like the one that was just like, whoa, like this definitely, there has to be something here, was when one of those days he eventually got up, he again ran to the door, started barking like crazy. And then he just kept barking and barking. And then out of absolutely nowhere, for no reason, because there was nobody else there, like the only one that was there was my sister and the dog. And so the dog, after barking like crazy, he basically like just like lowers his head, puts his tail underneath his legs, and then he stops barking, and he just like gets like really like submissive, if you could say, and he backs up. And he stopped barking for no reason. And I was like, what the hell? Because I didn't see this. Like, my sister showed this to me in a video. She recorded on her phone. And, like, the video is still there somewhere. But it was just amazing and shocking because, I mean, like, there was no explanation. We were like, what the hell? Like, we looked at the video, like, thousands of times because we're like, okay, what if there was, like, a reflection on, I don't know, like, on the door or something, you know, because it's like a glass door or something like that. But there was nothing on the other side, nothing that moved, nothing that would have caused the dog to like bow down and back up and stop barking. So it was just crazy. And after that, I mean, I don't know. That was just like, what other proof do you want about, you know, like dogs having a sixth sense? To me, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So in your house, actually, was there any other like, did you have like a spiritual activity or anything like this that would kind of maybe he was sensing something, or was something passing through maybe that he kind of picked up that kind of came and went? Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, like throughout my life, I've had many experiences like that. The crazy thing, though, like I have to say this, is that I had just moved back from Montreal back to Vancouver. And the crazy thing is that a lot of crazy things had been happening to me over in Montreal. And when I came to Vancouver, a lot of weird things started happening here. Well, before I was here, like, you know, like in my home, things weren't happening. And so everybody was kind of like teasing me, like, haha, like you kind of brought something from Montreal over here. I'm like, oh, I really hope I didn't. But I was like, maybe, because after I came back, a lot of weird things started happening. Not like bad things, but just really random things. Like, I don't know, like I have pretty crazy stories, but they're not very related to the animal one. But yeah, there was like a bit of just paranormal activity, I guess you could say, around where I am. So yeah, I don't know. It was just very intense and very weird. And he was a puppy back then, my dog. So there were other times that, again, like even now, like if I leave him in the room with me and I'm like in my computer, and I look over him and I'm like, what's he doing? And he's just looking at my closet. My closet is closed. So I'm like, what are you even looking at? And then I like turn around. I keep going on my computer, turn around again, and he's still looking at the closet. And he's been doing this for like many times, and I have no idea what he's looking at, right? So it's just weird. It's just bizarre. And I really wish I could see and sense whatever he is sensing, because there's definitely something. I don't know.
Yeah, something there. So the reason I ask is just because if you are sensitive and you can pick these things up yourself, then you have a better idea of maybe the things that he's sensing, right? So like me, I can't sense any of these things. Like I could probably have a haunted house and not even know because I'm just a knucklehead, right? But some people like instantly know. Like you know, some people can walk into a house and just be like, something's not right in this house, you know. So that's just not me. But that's why I asked, because it is related. Yeah. So if you have actual paranormal things happening, and your dog is kind of staring at nothing and freaking out and barking and being submissive like that, kind of it really does make you wonder, right? How about cats? Do you have a cat or had any experience with that at all?
No, I don't have a cat, but I wouldn't doubt that cats do exactly the same thing. And I wonder if maybe even more just because cats, you know, have like this mystical appeal to them, and like they're perceived as that way anyway in like culture anyways. So I would love to see a cat reacting that way as well, just because it would be very interesting. And I actually wonder, you know, if there could be a way to sort of measure these kind of experiences, because, you know, like there's so many scientific experiments on like, okay, dogs, of course, have the five senses that are super intense, right, compared to humans and things like that. But I wonder if there's ever been any study regarding dogs' sixth sense with the paranormal. And actually, I was trying to look it up. I was trying to see if I could find something. And I can't really find it because I don't really know if it's even like measurable in that sense with science, right? So I just wonder if there's any sort of like anybody out there that has done any like scientific study regarding this. Would be super interesting.
Yeah, so funny you mentioned that. I was actually looking myself to see if there was something similar. The only thing I could find was there were, you know, they've done a lot of experiments on dogs with kind of the MK Ultra type stuff with some mind control with dogs and things like this. But as far as I'm aware, I couldn't find anything. Correct me or correct us if we're wrong, guys. I couldn't find any studies regarding this. Even, you know, with you know, mediums and people that have you know, that are sensitive to these things. I couldn't find a single thing. So I don't know if it's all paywalled or if it doesn't exist at all. I have no idea. But yeah, I've kind of ran into a blank there as well. I tried to see if there's any studies that have been. I mean, I guess part of the problem is you can't really ask the dog what they're barking at. You know what I mean? You can't. So it kind of comes down. You know what I mean? So it kind of comes down to, well, all right, let's take the dog into a haunted house and see what happens. You know what I mean? But I would think somebody's done that over the years, right? I mean, it makes sense. It makes some kind of sense.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, right. Maybe one of us is going to have to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So what are some other thoughts that if you don't have to stay the whole time? Just do you have any other thoughts on animals, sixth sense, spirit animals, or any of the rest of this stuff?
Well, you know what I was wondering, because we were talking a bit about this before. You know, like with I think it was called like magnetoreception or receptor or something like that, right? And so I was wondering, for example, like I wonder whether it's not just like dogs having five senses that are just super intense, and then a sixth one adding on to that. And I don't know, because once I read, I can't remember when, but I was aware, but a long time ago I read about how some scientists were saying that it's not that animals have like a sixth sense, but rather that all their senses are super intense, so that the sixth sense is just like all the senses being intensified. Basically, that's what they were saying. But I don't think I actually agree with that. I think that most likely they actually do have something else that probably we don't have, and that other animals might not even have as well, or they might. It's just that we're not really like interacting with them as much as dogs, you know. But yeah, I think that, you know, as the other caller was saying, is like there might be more senses than just the five that we usually see in animals.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and again, without being able to actually speak with them directly, right? Or until we're able to like put the Neuralink from Elon Musk in the head of the cat and actually, be able to parse their thoughts and maybe communicate directly with animals this way. I don't think we're going to be able to do any kind of decent experiments with this. But I think you're right. Is that they have these basically it is ESP, or I'm sorry, not ESP, but like these ultra perceptions of just their senses that we can't even really conceive of. Just like we don't even know what it's like to smell like a dog, right? They have this super sense of smell, and it may give them some other hints of other things that are happening, right? They say dogs can smell cancer, like Beechwood was saying, like dogs can kind of smell death and sense it, things like this, right? And so maybe those in particular, it's not a sense, it's just a particular smell they pick up on an individual or something like this. That seems to make a lot of sense. Very, very good stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think that also even like okay.
No, go ahead. You're good. Go right ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go.
Okay. So I was just gonna say that. Awesome. I was just gonna say that I think that even sadness, like for example, like whenever I'm feeling a bit low or whatever, I always see my dog. He's just like literally like rubbing his head against my leg or whatever, something like that, and that I find that pretty interesting. And I always wonder, like, how the hell does he know I'm sad? Like, even if you're not crying, even if you're not crying, he might still come over and just be, like, super next to me or something like that. I'm like, I wonder if it's, like we're saying, like, it might just be, like, the sense of smell. Maybe, like, people smell different when they're sad. Who knows, right? But because humans don't really know, like, if a person smells different when they're sad. It could be that, or it could be that actually we're, like, I don't know, maybe they can just sense a different energy from you, and they just know that you need comfort, so they approach you more, or something like that. So, I don't know, I just find it super fascinating. I just wish I had answers to all these things that we're talking about.
Exactly,
it would be
right.
awesome to just know.
It would, and unfortunately, I think some questions have bigger answers than people will ever get. But it is fun to think about it and talk about it, right? So you did mention something pretty fantastic there. Is that so? If dogs can sense like emotions, maybe they have the ability to pick up something on the electromagnetic spectrum, right? I have an article here that was shared by Night Stalker on the Fringe FM Discord, and this is I knew this. I saw this when the study came out, but it says dogs poop in alignment with Earth's magnetic field. This study finds, and this is back from 2014. I'll link this. This is from PBS.org. But I mean, so if they're in tune with a magnetic field for just something like that, you got to expect that there's, just like you said, maybe these extra senses they have give them abilities that we can't even fathom as people. So it seems to make sense that we're kind of coming up to a similar conclusion, meaning that dogs and cats and animals probably are, well, better than people, I'm going to say. I'm going to say that. I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Dogs are better than people. I'm saying it. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Right on. Okay, so we got a caller behind you. So any final thought while we got you on the phone tonight?
No, not that I can think of right now, but if I think of anything, I'll put it on the Discord chat for sure.
Okay, I appreciate it. So this is Alexandra from Fringe Discord, guys. Go say hi. Join the Fringe Discord if you have not. Good conversations going on there 24 hours a day, very much like our Discord on For Troubled Minds. And this whole show idea started with a conversation a couple nights ago. We were talking about this kind of just in passing of I wonder what's up with the dogs and the sixth sense and all this other stuff. So I appreciate you starting that conversation, Alexandra. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, all right. So and then I appreciate you calling in and sharing your stories tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. There you go. You guys want to be part of the show? 702-957-1037. We have another call coming in real quick. Let's take this and let's keep on trucking. What's up? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Gregory, calling from Tampa, Florida.
Gregory from Florida. How are you, my friend? What's on your mind tonight? Hello?
The show has been very interesting so far. I'm a cat person. Right now, I share my house with 9 cats, and they're all indoor. and they're good at looking at things that I can't see. And I am sensitive, empath. So there's a lot of things I do see that other people don't. But cats all tend to be very attentive to things like that. They're also very attentive to my state of being. If I'm sick, I have migraine issues. I have 3 or 4 of them on the bed with me. If I move to another place, they follow me around. They're just close to me and hang close. But what I wanted to bring up was some books that were written in the 70s. There was a writer named J. Allen Boone, J of the letter, and he wrote about animals in general and how they communicate with human beings. And his theory was that they have a sense that allows them to see pictures. And when you're talking to a cat or a dog, if you picture what you want that cat to do or dog to do, it's easy for them to pick it up and do it. For instance, come here. You picture the dog coming to you, you know. Since reading those books, I've practiced that. And people that come over and visit are just incredibly amazed on how tuned I am with the cats.
I see. So they pick up on your emotions as well. So you do think that they have some sort of extrasensory perception, maybe magnetic field-like or paranormal. We only got like a minute left, so let's wrap it up. But what do you think? What's your theory? Do you think it is a paranormal thing, or do you think it's more of like a scientific electromagnetic type of thing?
I don't think there's a difference in this case. I think we think it's paranormal. It's one of these things that the writer said it was scientific. It's paranormal because we don't understand it. But I have tons of cat stories. I'll have to haul you back sometime.
Okay, sure.
The show has been very interesting tonight. I decided to finally get brave enough to call in.
I appreciate you getting brave enough to call into this show. It does make the world go round for me, and there's lots of people out there that need to hear these type of stories because it is underrated. Like Alexandra says in the Discord, there this is an underrated topic, and I think it needs to be brought out more. Thank you so much for the call tonight. Thanks for being brave and sharing your stories. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, have a fantastic night, and thank you for listening.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. There you go. That's Gregory from Tampa. And this is the deal, guys. We're talking about animals and the sixth sense, right? Is this a real thing, or is this something that is just, an old wives' tale? Is it, phony? Something that's made up? Or do you have a story to share? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. We're talking about animals and sixth senses. Do you think they can sense spirits and things like this? Do you think they're in a greater... Let's see, how do you say this better? Do you think they're in tune with the world more in depth than people? I think that's really the question here tonight. Do you believe this is real, or do you believe this is fake? Love to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More Animals and Sixth Sense after the break. Be right back.
I wish none of this had happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world, Frodo, besides the will of evil. so was meant to find the ring, in which case you also were meant to have it. And that is an encouraging thought.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It's Wednesday night, and this is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and D-Live. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. This show airs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. You can find us there. And we're taking your calls tonight. We're talking about animals and a sixth sense. Do you actually believe that they can see through the veil, as it were? There have been reports over the years that animals, in particular, dogs, cats, other animals, of course, were able to see spirits. We're able to see dead people. We're able to sense a demonic presence. Do you think there's anything to this? Do you think it's paranormal? Do you think it's fiction? Or do you think it's science? I think there's a whole lot to talk about here. And we're going to continue doing this. If you want to be part of the show tonight, you can give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link. We've got a Discord server running. You can join us there. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And love to hear your stories. Maybe you have some stories about dogs barking at things that maybe aren't there, or maybe are there that we cannot perceive and they can, or cats, or this or that or the other. Love to hear your story on all this stuff. Good calls so far, and we've got another one on deck. Let's go to Tim in Georgia. Let's do it. Tim in Georgia, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend? Hey. What do you think about all this animal stuff? I am doing great, man. Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm a firm believer in it 110%. There's a lot to it, and the ancients tried to tell us a little bit about it. So there is some historical record that you can find in your search for things. But I bring up dowsing rods because this has a lot to do with it. We see a very limited spectrum of light, and other animals, different species, see a lot larger spectrums of the light frequency than we do. And there's a variance between frequencies, and sometimes they clash, and you get a kickback. On a CB, we call it squelch. In radio, you get that squelchy feedback. Well, the same thing can happen between living organisms that are plugged into a grid, and we're plugged into one big grid. And there's nexus points and ley lines in that grid. And the name Tesla will pop up when you search this stuff because he believed in this. He was a firm believer in this stuff, and a lot of his research depended on his open-mindedness and to make some leaps of faith about how things worked. And that's literally what we're talking about doing here. We all see it. We can't explain it. It's like love. It's there. It's a very real thing that can affect you. You can't weigh it. You can't identify it under a microscope. It's odorless. It's tasteless. But it's very real and very powerful. So I'll give you the example of love as well. That's no different than holding the rods in your hand and going out and finding water and oil. There's a connection there between you and the earth that has everything to do with how clouded your mind is. First of all, our animals pretty much eat and drink and are free of chemicals. They're mostly free of alcohol, drugs, tobacco, stimulants of any kind. So mostly they're pure, especially wild animals for the most part. And so they're very in tune with this relationship between us and Mother Earth and how this all functions together, the symbiotic circle of life. So that's kind of my take on it, and there's a lot of good information. The callers tonight, too, have been great, Mike. It's been some really, really good callers bring up things that I've experienced myself, things that I have felt and kind of had some of those thoughts, but never really said too much because you don't want to be labeled, hey, that dude's freaking nuts. But when you hear other people call in and talk about it, it really does make a difference because you understand that, hey, this is not just stuff we're reading about that people are trying to make a buck on. Like so many other things out there, there's people that this is heartfelt what they have to say. That should paint a different picture if you're a skeptic. I think the skeptics can no longer be skeptical anymore and doubt a lot of things, given the times we live in today, especially.
Yeah, I think the term skeptic really is kind of like a dirty word to me. It's kind of like just saying
it is.
Yeah, right. It's kind of just saying that you just don't believe anything you can't explain. You don't believe anything that's not in a science book. And that right there is kind of a bizarre religion. It's the same way if you want to be kind of obtuse about religion or anything else.
Almost like it's done on purpose or something. Almost like it's done on purpose that way. So the conversations don't move forward. It's like, hey, we don't want anybody to know anything beyond this point because there may be something better and we don't want you to have that or be a part of it. And that's kind of the feeling I get when you get into studying a lot of this stuff. Somebody somewhere knows more than we all do about it, I'm sure. Somebody in a think tank underground somewhere, the Bob Lazars of the world, and I believe him. I believe what he's got to say, not to get off subject, but so when I hear these people describe their experiences with their own pets, and my pets are like children, they're family members, and listening to the other callers, our hearts are in the right places, man, and that's part of our humanity, to be like that. And when animals that I have, when my pets get around people, if they don't like them, I don't like them.
Yeah,
they can detect bad people.
Yeah, totally, dude.
They can tell when somebody's got an ulterior motive or maybe wanting to hurt you. They can sense it.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that, man.
Yeah.
I've had some of my cats that like to go with me fishing. They'll run up ahead of the trail, and they'll come back, and they'll pause with their tail up and their hair standing up, and I know something's not right. 9 times out of 10, it's a snake on the trail. And they're letting me know, hey, just up ahead, be careful, there's a snake. And they have helped me avoid stepping on them in this swamp out here so many times, it's not even funny. So they really have kept me out of danger more times than I can count. Same thing with my brother. And it's usually not our dogs that do that. It's usually our cats.
That's incredible to me. I've never got a cat to do anything other than stare at me and say it's dinner time.
Right? These things around here are hunters, man. They take down squirrels, rats, you name it. We have a garden out here every year, so there's plenty of rodents and pests for them to sharpen their claws on, and they go for it.
Yeah, that is definitely good stuff. So you think there's something to this, right? They're definitely. I mean, there's that bond clearly they have with they have the bond with people, but then they have these extrasensory perceptions that allow them to you pointed out snakes on a trail is one thing, right? But then another thing entirely is do you think they have an ability to maybe see through, like you said, they have maybe the electromagnetic spectrum, the different light spectrums. They probably have senses that we can't even measure to really understand in some cases, right? We try and get estimations based on what they can see and can't see. But yeah, go ahead. And you brought up, I want to talk about dowsing rods. You brought that up. So go right ahead, sir.
I Mike, that you hit the nail on the head. There's some things there You know, they're real. They're very real. Nobody will convince me otherwise. And we haven't figured out a way to measure some of it yet. That's all it is. And I don't think we need any ancient alien to help us out either. I think mankind's a lot smarter than what we give ourselves credit for. I honestly do, brother. I really do. Look at the Chuck Yeagers of the world and the astonishing things people have done that are real world things. And we don't give our pets and animals enough credit either. They lower your heart rate. Picking up your cat when you're upset and petting your cat lowers your heart rate. Studies have proven that from the American Medical Association and stuff out there. Remember back in the 80s and 90s, they were like, help an old person that's alone, get them a pet so they're not alone anymore. You know, I used to watch overseas, the BBC, British TV would run these things about checking on the elderly, and if they were single and had lost their loved one, how a pet would help replace that lost part of their life. And I have seen dogs and cats do that for elderly people who lose somebody. It replaces something in their life that they had, and it's not an exact substitute, but it improves their life longevity and gives them another reason to live.
Yeah, purpose.
And I've seen that work for people.
Yeah, it gives them purpose. Yep, that makes sense.
Prime example.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, I thought you had a prime example preface, not a prime example of what you just said. I misunderstood. Okay, so back to the dowsing rods though. So if many people don't know, in the old days they called it witching, right? And you'd have like this stick,
right? Yeah.
And it was like kind of shaped like a wishbone, right? And you'd hold the two ends of the handle, right, and then have like the point. And there was a technique, right? Whether it's science or not, I think science has basically poo-pooed it, but people were actually able to witch out a well in the ground, where to dig wells by using this stick and kind of sensing the vibrations of whatever, like that electromagnetic whatever was happening in the world around them, and be able to literally sniff out through the air in this stick where to dig a well. And that's still happening. My grandmother said that when they dug their well up in the mountains, when they had their house there and they built it and put it all together, she said that they hired somebody to come witch the well to find out where to dig it, and they did, and sure enough, it was legit.
That used to be very big in the South down here. You get an old feller and he would have two copper rods. Guy come out from the well company, and they would douse until they hit a spot. And, some of them old-timers were right 99% of the time. Uncannily, but here's what they know that you might not know, though. They probably got a copy of a hydrographic survey that shows them where the water tables are at and how far they got to go to hit your water table. So before they ever get to your house, and we had stuff like that goes back 100+ years. But now there was a television show not too long ago on History Channel about them drilling for oil a few years back. And it was real big. They were doing it all over Pennsylvania, going to private property owners. And the one guy on there used dowsing rods. And, I guess it was a toss-up, so you can't call that scientific, really. Nothing measured, really. There's no scientific method process done. It's a TV show. But what you kind of gather from it is the guy explained as he's walking along different things that he's looking for, whether there's trees there, the gap between the trees, the color of the grass between the trees tells him if there's water, how hydrated the soil is. And those copper rods react to the amount of hydration in the soil because it's conductive to grounding out electricity. Like here, I'm practically in the swamp. I have to have these huge grounding rods driven in by my power pole that are probably 30 feet longer than most of the rest of the people in the country, simply because it stays soggier and wetter here. And if I didn't do that, every time I would go to turn my faucet on in the house, I'd probably get electrocuted, if I just went a couple feet in the ground with the grounding rods. So there's some scientific relations there. Tesla's tower was going to be built over an underground river, and it worked off the principle of the same thing as those copper dowsing rods. And reacting to the water in the ground, because as water's moving, or it's there's some electrical properties to it. It amasses some electrical properties. Walter Russell, who was like a genius in his own right, wrote about a lot of this stuff. There's a matter of fact, there's a Facebook page, a group called the Walter Russell Think Tank, and if you're interested in a lot of that stuff, it's a place where people discuss a lot of a lot of stuff like that. You might be interested in checking that out. But Walter Russell wrote stuff on it a long time ago that's very interesting along the lines of some of these subjects, and that's what gave me the curiosity to learn more about it, coming across some of his work.
Yeah, interesting. The world we live in, right? So many things that kind of unexplored, really untested, and and that's kind of really one of the main premise of this show for a very long time is we kind of just don't know jack about the world we live in. I mean, we're doing our best in the science and all this, and people trying to figure these things out. But I mean, given like the amount of things that are out there and are real and are happening, many of these things we still can't explain. Like ley lines is one of them, right? I mean, the electromagnetic field and some of the things it does, we can't really measure exactly what the heck is going on with this. And yeah, I mean, it all kind of fits together when you're talking about, science and the paranormal. It's weird that it's kind of the same thing. It's just one has been measured and the other hasn't yet, right? It really is the same thing.
Remember, Mike, you covered Tesla, the monkey using that neural link to play the video game.
Yeah.
When I first heard the news of that, I was horrified, and I'll tell you why. I think I'm old-fashioned in the way I think sometimes, but here's why. That's a horror to me, because if they can do that, they can do anything, and they don't need you anymore. What's to say that they can't take a dog, a German Shepherd, and they already work with the military. With a neural link, a human being could sit in a trailer and link up with that dog. And that's you wouldn't need a human being on the battlefield if you had an army of them things that had their own weapons available in a backpack or something on them. But just it brings me to the Man-Kazin Wars. It was a science fiction novel back in the day. And the Kazin was a race of felines, humanoid felines, the Man-Kazin Wars. They were like lions and tigers, but, in humanoid form. They had tails and everything. And, man, were they smart, very cunning, and very vicious in that series of sci-fi novels, the Man-Kazin Wars. And that kind of gives you food for thought there when it comes to, the Dog Star and all that stuff. And those books touched on a lot of that. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, definitely. We can kind of
pretty
go down.
Neat.
Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep. It's over the years. It's been neat to see how people have touched on the subject, and a lot of the directors in Hollywood too, on what we're talking about with animals. The Pet Cemetery, animals having a soul, spirit. It's so prevalent, I guess, in pop media culture and everything else. There's so many genres, and a lot of it revolves around what are our household pets, different animals, owls, like Bohemian Grove and the owl, the deity of the owl and everything. I just seen something in the press the other day about the bat. Think about it, the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to think, when has a bat been in the news recently? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Man. Exactly.
I'm not going to say it.
Just like with the Bohemian Grove thing that popped up the other day, and this lady, they're talking about some of the stuff going on there. This lady reporter and everything, and it's like, where's everybody been for 30 years, man? 40 years on some of this stuff. And I'm watching this report. Somebody had shared it with me on Facebook, and I thought it was great. And it's like, wow, man, things come full circle. And here I've been called an absolute lunatic and conspiracy theory for even bringing up the name of the place. Oh, I don't think that place exists. Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Tim,
funny.
are you sure they pray to owls there? I'm positive, baby.
Positive.
I think you're crazy. Well, here we are, like years later. I get a message in the middle of the night, and he's like, "Hey, man, I just got to say, dude, I seen that thing you shared on your Facebook, and this is an old friend of mine." And he said, "Man, holy cow, dude. Like, so some of that other crap you told me that scared me to death back then, that shit real too." I'm like, it's really real. We're all going to die real soon.
Real.
You don't worry.
Real.
Relax, pal.
It is real.
So hopefully he was biting his fingernails.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So that's why they need people like us, man. They need people like us pointing these things out and saying, "Hey, this is still here. This hasn't gone anywhere." Tim, you are the best. We're coming up on a break here. I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate the call. You have fantastic insight, fantastic takes as always. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Tim. That's if anybody wants to follow Tim, I actually link him in the show notes now. If you guys want to, he contributes to the show so much. He's calling in a lot more these days, which again I appreciate. That's the whole reason of doing this show, guys. That's the whole reason we always started this, is to have a conversation with you. I could pull up web pages and kind of yammer on like a substitute teacher, right? It's just a lot less fun than hearing what you guys believe about this stuff, because it's a two-way conversation. And if anybody wants to follow Tim, he's got a D-Live account. It's called Tinfoil Timothy. I believe it's Tinfoil. I'll find the link and I'll share it in the chat. But please go follow Tim. He was streaming live last night after the show. Actually, I went and hung out with him for just a little bit. But do check it out. I'll put the link in all the notes and everything. But thank you, Tim from Georgia. John from Facebook Jail. We're going to get to you right after the break. Hang tight, okay? I see you there in Discord. If you guys want to be on the show, it's easy. We're talking about animals tonight. We're talking about the sixth sense that they may or may not have. What do you believe? Do you believe in the science? Do you believe that there's something paranormal to this? Do you believe that animals in general are more in tune with the world around us than people? I guess that's the question tonight. And love to hear your stories. People have pets all over the place out there, multiple pets even, and they probably have stories where, like we had Alexandra call in from British Columbia saying that she's had paranormal instances, and her dog seems to pick them up and bark at invisible things in her house. And right. I know you guys have stories like that out there. Looking to hear from you tonight. You want to be part of the show? You know what to do. Phone number's up on the stream, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website, and we're just here kicking it. We're here talking about all the things we love to talk about, which is, of course, all the things they don't cover in the mainstream news. And tonight that happens to be animals. Animals in the sixth sense. Do you think it's a real thing? Do you think it's part science? Do you think there's anything paranormal about it? Again, I don't have answers to these things. This is not the answers show. This is the question show. And I'd love to hear from you guys tonight. You want to be part of it? One more time, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. And we got one more segment on The Fringe coming up, 30 more minutes, so we've got time for you. We've got John from Facebook Jail coming up right after the break, and your call. TroubledMinds.org, phone number, Discord is there. Talk to you in a second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more after the break.
The truth is out there, and so are we. KTLK, Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, D-Live. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we are talking about animals and a sixth sense. Do you believe they can sense spirits? Do you believe it's more a scientific thing and they're in tune with the magnetic field of the earth? Or do you believe it's a bunch of hogwash? We're taking all of it because who knows, right? We don't have the answers to these things. That's why it's more important, in my opinion, to ask the right questions. Do you want to be part of the show tonight? We're listening to your stories regarding animals that maybe have a sixth sense. And whatever that means to you. Some people have called in tonight and said they've got dogs barking at random things in the house, right? Things that they shouldn't be barking at. We have people that are in tune with their cats and animals that sense feelings, right? And know when people need attention. I mean, this is all real. This is real stuff. All you have to do is have a pet and pay attention to them, and you'll see there are bonds that are being made. But the question there is, do you think it's anything a little bit weird, or do you think it's just more old wives' tales, hogwash? We got a couple calls. We're going to go to, let's go to John in Facebook jail. John in Facebook jail. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing great, man. What is on your mind? What about all this animal stuff? Do you have any pets?
I do not have any pets, but I can tell you there's a lot of paranormal activity going on. I just thought it was funny. Anyways.
I got you.
It felt flatter than my voice when I sing, but it's okay.
All right.
Anyways.
I'm laughing.
Yeah,
I'm laughing.
I appreciate you laughing. Everyone else is laughing at me. It's all right, though. My wife was actually listening to the show today, and she goes, well, John, everyone knows that cats have superpowers, so that show's not important. And I was like, oh, okay. Well,
exactly.
Thanks, babe. Supportive.
Exactly. But yeah, okay. So do you think there's something to it? Do you think, again, the magnetic field, or you think they're just kind of like empaths, maybe natural empaths, or do you think that's a bunch of hogwash? I'm open to all those things. What do you think?
Well, I think animals do have a connection that we don't, because if you look at it biblically, when Noah had his ark being filled with animals, God was having them send in and choose between each other the two that would be selected to board the ship. So, to me, that is a spiritual entity directing animals. You see what I'm saying? So, if something enters you like that, I'm pretty sure it can be passed down. So, it wouldn't be far-fetched for me to think that animals have, especially cats for some reason, have a paranormal sense that we don't.
Okay, that I can buy that. And so have you ever had pets in your life where something like this happened, or is it all kind of like a hearsay from somebody else that you've heard these things? Kind of like me. Like, I've had pets my whole life, but I've never seen them do weird things like that where it made me wonder, you know? They do weird things all the time. Like pets just sometimes do spurg out and do weird things. But like nothing that ever made me wonder if there was like, you know, an entity in the kitchen or something like that. What about you?
I tell you what, we had this one cat, and we called him Gatsby. He was great. Anyways, he would do this one thing where he would get real low to the ground. He was real fat too, so it didn't take very much because his stomach drug the ground. Anyway, he loved it. But anyway, so he'd get real low to the ground, and then he'd lock on to something, and then he'd run over to it, and I swear he could find my wife's underbritches anywhere in the house, and that's a superpower.
That's the superpower. Your ass is grass, bro.
I know. But not as much as that cat's, because he could find them literally anywhere and bring them to the dining room table, and it was impressive every single time.
Every single time. Okay, all right. But back to the seriousness of the matter, you funny guy. What do you think? Do you think I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think about some of this, because, you know, some people, you get firsthand accounts of things that actually, you know, they've seen, and they're empathic, and they see, or have had supernatural experiences in their homes, and then their pets react to these things. Right. I'm not that guy, because I don't sense these things. I don't know if that's like a gift or a curse. You decide. But it is what it is. Right. And when I hear, you know, perfectly sane people telling me these things, I got to wonder, right? This stuff seems kind of real.
Well, and you got to look back through history. Why have so many cultures really embraced the animal kingdom the way they have? Why do the Egyptians consider cats gods? You know, there's a lot going on there. Yeah, you look at what they built just to be able to connect with the stars and whatnot. Cats have held a symbolic place in human history for being godlike. So yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, we know dogs are picking up on earthquakes. We know, animals act weird. There's migratory patterns going off magnetism from the earth, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, it's hard to unpack it all in just one conversation with how much stuff is actually involved in the animal kingdom.
Right, exactly. Speaking of which, I got this article from sciencenewsforstudents.org, and it says, a sense of danger. Can animals warn us if an earthquake or some other natural disaster is about to strike? And I think most notably that the actual thing that sticks in my head about this recently is they had that tsunami. Was that Indonesia, I believe? In the last year, right? So they said that just before this went down, right? So there was an earthquake out at sea, these huge waves coming in, but before it happened, people reported this eerie silence. And the only casualties were people, because apparently all the animals that were free and could get out, like, busted out and cleared out and ran for the hills because they knew this thing was coming, right? Maybe they sensed the tremor, who knows? But even the birds, everybody just took off. The entire animal kingdom bounced and left us dumb people there. And I hate to say that because it was a terrible incident. Lots of people died there, but a little bit weird that the animals pick up on this and just take off, right?
Yeah, we've really disassociated from our natural abilities, though. With how little we use our brain, that means at one point we used a lot more of it than we do now. And I think it's a lot of our senses that have been diminished. And someone brought up the fact that Native Americans used to grow their hair out longer, and they still do. And as someone that's had long hair, the key to that is I feel like when you do have longer hair, you pick up on more stuff. For instance, my wife, if I ever come too close to her and she doesn't want me, she could elbow me at Mach 26. I've calculated it. And that's because her hair is long.
Right.
No, in all seriousness, she's sensing the urge.
It's got the static, the static charge in the hair.
Yep.
It's sensing you. Yeah. As always,
if I had a cat right now, it would be warning me of a natural with how my wife just looked at me.
That's about to go down. Gotcha. Like I told you, I tried to warn you, my friend. Your ass is grass. But we got a call behind you, so we're gonna truck on. So any final thought while we got you on the phone?
No, I just got to figure out how I'm going to get my wife and this cell phone out of Facebook jail.
All right. Good luck with that. Let me know if I can be of any assistance. Though they don't listen to me, Facebook or your wife. So thanks, John. Thanks, John. You guys are the best. See, great calls. And again, so this article again, and this isn't the only one, right? Science News for Students: A Sense of Danger. So animals do amazing things. Birds migrate immense distances. Whales communicate across vast oceans. Honeybees remember familiar flowers. Crows can turn sticks into tools. Dogs sense when their owners are coming home. Elephants can imitate sounds. Monkeys do simple math. Apes make artwork. Can animals warn us if a natural disaster is about to strike? And this is the one we're talking about here. A few days after the Asian tsunami several months ago, and this is way back in 2005 when this article came, a person living in Thailand watched thousands upon thousands of ants rush away from the beach into the forest. According to other accounts, elephants screamed and ran to higher ground as many as 10 days before disaster struck. Zoo animals hid in their cages. Dogs refused to go outside. So definitely they know what the heck is going on with this. Great calls tonight, guys. That was funny, John. Let's go to this call. I'm not sure exactly who this is. You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Michael J.
Damn it! Michael. How come I made a note and I'm supposed to be notified when Michael J calls, and so I don't have to ask you your name. Michael J, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. What do you think about all this animal stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to train horses for a living.
Okay, and so
yeah, they have that intuitive. They have that psychic ability that know stuff's coming before you do. They have that sixth sense.
it seems like it, right? Do you have any like specific examples you can tell us that happened while you were training horses?
Well, when I train the babies, the 3-year-olds, I teach them voice command, and I just use my voice, and I'd visualize in my head what I want them to do, and you create that connection over a period of time with them. The guy was talking about setting that neural link from the dog to the military guy, and that happens naturally. That's something if you're attentive to your pet and you're intuitive to the pet, that neural link happens naturally. And anyways, I trained the babies, and I just visualized what I'm going to do, and I kept repeating the word, and they would do it. So you get that kind of connection with it. I had a dog. I moved back to the East Coast to take care of my mom because she was getting sick, and I had my dog with me. And my mom was sitting in the living room, and we hear this, it sounded like a big man. You could hear the footsteps right up on the front porch. It's heavy. And my dog went flying up to the door, and I'm thinking, and I looked at Mom, I was like, who's here? And you get that if you hear enough sounds like a ghost or something like that, it's like you know that's no one's there. Anyways, he went flying up to the door. All you saw were teeth and legs. I finally got the door open. Nobody there, but he was looking at somebody who was about 6'2", and he was staring dead up. And he was just going nuts about it. So yeah, my cats do the same thing. They watch shit on the ceiling and run around.
So there was
absolutely, yeah.
So there was something there. There was some entity or something at the front door, and your dog was detecting.
Oh, it was. I don't know if it was one of my mom's relatives or what, but I mean, somebody came up. It could have been someone out of the Civil War. But yeah, there was something there. I mean, he was just going nuts, and I finally got him to calm down. I got him away from it because I couldn't pull him back. It was like, so whatever was there. But absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So do you think it's more like paranormal, or do you think that it's maybe some of this we can chalk up to like scientific stuff, kind of like the electromagnetic field or some of these other things?
Well, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as frequencies. Animals can see things that we can't see because their brains in that part of their body, and actually in their body, there's different frequencies there that they can see into that we can't see. Okay. Because they're more naturally adapted to nature. And so they're going to be out there in order to survive. They're going to be more open to seeing other things. So my feeling is, and people who think some animals don't have souls, the animals to me are advanced to us. We're in the back of the bus because they're able to do these things. And when you link them with your because my cats, I'm linked into my cats, and I know where they are. I just had one come back after 2 days, and somebody shot him in the head with a BB gun. And he's here now. But absolutely, when I was training horses, I knew when a horse was going to get colic and what specific horse was going to get colic 2 days before they actually came down with colic. And then it would come down with it. When you have that kind of link with the animals, that would be a natural neural link. I'm sure the military does something scientific, but yeah, it's frequencies to me. I don't think it's paranormal. To me, it's frequencies. It's just normal for them.
Right. So
when you hear your dog bark.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, like when I hear my dog bark, I knew his barks. If it was just, hey, somebody's out here, type of thing, or if he's getting serious about the way he's barking. And then if he's really getting serious, or he's looking for me, he could be in the backyard, he'd start barking, I'm like running out, and he's just standing there with his head up, wagging his tail. He just wanted to call me to come out with him. They do these things. And he was like that a lot. He's very, I used to take him to, I get my paycheck when I was working, I get my paycheck in, and one of the things I do is I take him to Burger King for dinner. Right, and had a van, so I get in the back seat or the bench seat behind me. So I get him 3 patties, I get what I want, and we sit there, I feed him. And he always knew when my paycheck came. He knew it was every 2 weeks, and I get my paycheck, come home. He knew. He'd come run up like, "Are we going?" And it's like, "Going where?" Or if I thought it, he knew.
Right.
So you have that link with your animals, and that's why some people have a very hard time when their animal passes. because you have that innate link that you may not have with a human. And people don't do that with each other, but animals will do that with you, and you can achieve that much more easily with animals. They don't have the same boundaries or fences and walls that we have. You know, they're just very open. They're very unconditional, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking it into the woo-woo world a little bit. It's kind of like nature magic, right? It's like they have this openness.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Oh, I love raccoons.
Right?
I had these raccoons come on my back porch, and they're running around, going through the trash, and I heard them, so I, opened the door real slow, and I went out there and looked at them, and they're all looking like, oh, man, he caught us. So they're kind of sneaking out the back door, and this one, I started approaching them because I wanted to watch them, walk away, because they weren't in no hurry. One of them stops, stands up on his back legs, and he puts his front legs up like I was arresting him. And he just stood there, staring at me.
Busted.
And then, he went back down, and I started approaching him again. He stood back up and put his, hands back up like, oh, I give up. And, they have that little bandit mask on. Right. But it's like I was arresting him, so I just, let him go, and he caught up with the other ones. But, yeah, they know. They know people.
Yeah.
I had my dog was passing in last June, the neighbor's dog, who is deathly afraid of me. He sees me, and I start talking to him. He hauls butt the other way. He's gone. The day my dog passed away at midnight, June 15th last year. And that day, I was out weed eating because I knew it was coming. It was like I had to start separating myself from him and just, let it happen. And so I was out weed eating. The neighbor's dog, which is always afraid of me, came up and stood 2 feet away from me for like 3 to 4 hours. And he was wagging his tail, being friendly. And I had the weed eater with the 2 handles on it, just trying to keep myself busy. And he stood there with me for about 3 or 4 hours, and he stood right by me. And then I finally had to tell him to go home because I wanted to go back in. And I've never seen that dog since. And he knew something was going on. My cats that day, they all just got really super quiet and very somber, and were just kind of sitting. And then when he passed, it's like suddenly they got up, and started moving around again, but they didn't move all day. So they're very sensitive to all that. I mean, that's just, it's normal for me.
Yeah, they knew it was coming. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I guess really the conversation, not just this, but really the larger conversation is kind of that, science and magic, right? And, like Arthur C. Clarke said, they're indistinguishable when you're talking about like technology from, generations away ahead of us. Science is magic at some point, right? And so that's kind of really the question we're talking about tonight. Well, you know what I mean, right? Like if aliens come here and they've got science, to us it's magic. We perceive it as magic, even though it may not be, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. Is really the larger conversation.
It's technology, but I see it all. To magic to me is when I can clap my hands and $1 million appears. Poof, here it is. That's magic to me. To me, when you have that sixth sense with the animals or anybody, to me it's a natural way of being. So I wouldn't consider it magic for me, but it's just a natural way of being stuff. Because people are like, how'd you know that? It's like that's natural. That's normal for us. And we're not at that yet, but the animals are. You can learn so much from animals. It's incredible. When I was training horses, I learned more from the horses than I did the instructors.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And if you pay attention, I mean, you could, my opinion, you could learn things from the trees if you pay attention. You know what I mean? It seems silly to say that, but there's a lot of like it's life out there. It's doing its thing to survive just like we are. And if you pay attention, I think the whispers in the trees. I think they can probably teach you something if you pay attention.
Oh, it's like a friend of mine. It was weird. About 3 years ago. I'm sitting at home, and it's like suddenly I just get this overwhelming feeling of like the army's getting ready, like Civil War is coming back. And I could see these guys, in like modern times putting on their red coats and the little wigs and stuff like for Civil War. And she called me up 4 hours later, and she goes, "Did you feel that?" And I said, "Yes." And she was talking about that. We talked about it. It was the exact same thing. It was just like this overwhelming wave came over. But, and that's who we are. It's interesting. Once you get used to being around the animals and dealing with that, you get around the birds, snakes, anything. It's like suddenly they stay much closer to you. And when you go outside, the birds don't fly off. They're scared because suddenly you develop this feeling for nature in general. So when you're out, you have that innate, I would say an innate love for it, a general acceptance. and there's an unconditional acceptance to you
that comes back,
and then you give that back. It's reciprocated.
Yeah, so they
so
sense,
it's all out there.
Yeah, they sense the peace in you and kind of respect it as okay, well, this guy's cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes
Except
a lot of sense.
for deer.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think I've actually seen. It's rare, but I think if you're maybe just quiet enough and just timid enough and do it just the right way, I think you can approach a deer. I think it's been done before. I don't know.
Oh, I know. I tried. I had 12 mule deer in my backyard, and I'm like being really quiet, you know. And mule deer, they don't really run off that they're not that strong. And I went out, and and boom, gone. I was like, damn it. Went back inside. 3 hours later, I had 12 whitetail in my backyard. And they're spooky as hell. And I was like trying to be quiet, like, oh, you know, Bambi. And poof, gone. And I get near deers, and they look at me like,
Not doing it. Not
Anything
doing
else, I don't have a real...
That's
yeah,
funny.
they just, nah. I think because I probably... one of them, unfortunately, hit one of them with my car, so maybe they all know now.
You're a marked man.
I'm marked.
You're marked. You're marked by the deer. This is Michael J. from the Fringe Discord. I appreciate your calls as always, my man. Hot takes, good stuff. I appreciate you calling in. We're about to end here, so we're gonna keep on trucking. Thanks, bro.
All right. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thanks. We'll talk to you soon. There you go. Michael J. from the Fringe FM Discord. If you guys, again, this is the caliber of folks that you get to experience if you guys join the Discords, right? We've got a Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. You can jump in there and meet some of these people. Go to fringe.fm/chat and you can join the Fringe Discord. And look at all the amazing people that called in tonight. All of these folks we met doing this show. Right, all of these folks have, many of them have been contributing to this show for a very long time, and it's becoming a community. It's becoming a very large thing, and it's becoming popular with a lot of you. And I appreciate it. The feedback is fantastic. Your calls are beyond amazing, and like I said, it makes the world go round for me. It just makes a lot more sense to hear you guys talking about these things than it does me, because me, I'm reading some crappy web pages off the internet, and like I said, it's very substitute teachery. But then once we get all of us together and we tell our stories and we form this bond in this community, I'm telling you, there are few things in this world that can be beat than a bunch of people that come together, respect each other, and tell some amazing stories. So there you go. That's what the show's really about. In the end, it's coming together. I think we should spend a little more time coming together and a little less time hating each other. Call me I don't know. What would you call me? I think you'd call me a revolutionary for thinking that way in this day and age. But somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to stand up to the hate media and say, hey, look, let's do this. Let's get together and talk about these things and respect each other. And that's what this show's about, among many other things. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for listening. Thanks for calling. Thanks for all the chat. Thanks for all the support. You guys are amazing. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, which means we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m., talking about more amazing things. For right now, if you're listening to Fringe FM, Joe Roop is next, Lighting the Void. If you're listening on DLive, Facebook, or YouTube, one more hour of Troubled Minds coming up. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening, guys. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. Hello out there. Greetings and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. Yeah, I'm your host, Michael Strange. We are here talking about empathic animals. We're talking about animals. Do they have a sixth sense? And if so, do you believe it's of the paranormal nature? Or do you believe it's of the scientific nature? Or do you believe it's an old wives' tale? I'd love to hear from you tonight. As we talk about this stuff, always great to hear your guys' take on this stuff. So many great calls tonight, and we've got room for more. If you guys want to be part of the show, give us a call. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. 1037. And you can join the Discord at troubledminds.org is the official website. Don't mind the website right now. It's kind of a mess. Dead links and things. It is under reconstruction, because we got a new podcast host and things are shaping up. Things are looking like, things are growing. Things are going the right direction. And again, thank you to you guys for all of that. Like I always say, it's just, without you, it's just me sitting here in the corner, mumbling to myself. And well, that's a lot less fun, isn't it? That's a lot less fun. Shout out to Robert Arend, Arend. He sent me some books that he wrote, which I'm going to plug the book because he was nice enough to send them to me. Stories from a Fractured Mind. And this is from Robert Arend, Arend. I just picked him up from the mail today, and I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to reading some of the stories you've written, and good stuff. His link is actually attached to the shows already. If you guys want to check out his book and support some folks who've supported this show, kind of get together as part of the community, right? You want to support the man. I appreciate his work here, and I appreciate him listening and being a longtime fan. So if you want to support, you know what to do. Go to YouTube. His book is linked. You can get it right on Amazon. Thank you for sending that again, Robert. I appreciate that a lot. All right, let's go. We got a couple calls coming in. Let's see. Let's see who's here first. Let's go to Beechwood. Let's go back to Beechwood. What's up, Beechwood? How you doing, buddy? What's on your mind, my man?
Oh, what's up, man? Dude, this was one of the best shows I've ever heard, because let me tell you something. I love calling your show. I love listening to about aliens. I love listening to about everything. And, you know, people go back to science. Everything in the animal world can be backed by science. It's already there. And there's so many points. And one of the things that I forgot to mention was monogamous creatures. You know, like swans, things like that exist. And a monogamous creature is a creature that mates for life. You know, that's why they call swans lovebirds. And there's a few creatures that do it. But that exists in, you know, the nature world. So they don't have a reason why. It's all emotional. Because, you know, it's species reproduction is about the survival of the species. And you see that in the animal kingdom. You know, wolves have a hierarchy. Wolves have an alpha male, and only the alpha male mates, and then they have a beta, and they have a structure, and it's for the genes to carry on. But then also, this topic relates so much to, like, the other night, we were talking about bringing back dinosaurs and stuff, and already in the world today, like, I mean, we have mules. A mule is a horse and a donkey, and a mule can't reproduce. But a mule's been around for a long time. And, you know, we've been tampering with genetics for a very, very long time. And it just shows how it's all related, and it's a great place to start. But, no, monogamous creatures, that was the one that I really wanted to bring up, and why that exists. And a lot of humans can be that way, and sometimes they can't be that way.
Many more times they can't be that way.
many more times.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. So the whether that's, you know, the nature part of it, where they've it's become you know, more what would you say, like, advantageous for their survival. Maybe not, you know. Maybe it's just that they're more in tune with each other in that animal way. And it's a good point. That's a good point. Very, very. Then go ahead.
Also, we were talking about gifts that animals have and creatures on this earth that they have. Now, humans were gifted with intellect. That was our gift. We have intelligence, and we're top dog on the earth as far as we know, as far as most people think. But when you look at human beings, what makes us different is our intelligence, and we have thumbs. Nobody brought up thumbs. We have thumbs.
That means
I was always told we have thumbs, and like pound for pound. All right, pound for pound in like the animal world, the human being really isn't that impressive. You know, pound for pound, what we got flat teeth. We don't. Chimps, like almost all primates, are way stronger than us. When you look at the insect world, way stronger than us. ants like 50 times their weight. All sorts of, insects, or spiders. You brought up spiders to begin with. Spider silk is one of the strongest materials known on the planet. It's like stronger than carbon fiber, like tensile strength and stuff, as far as, pound to weight ratio.
Yeah, they say it's like cable,
like that.
Stronger than like steel cables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's just magnificent things. But, we're not all that impressive as far other than our brains. We're not. As far as what we do,
Yeah, that's true. Come on. I have to slip it in. Beechwood, you know what you do with thumbs, right?
Oh, man.
No, don't answer that. Don't just say, no, I don't know. Don't answer that. Okay, let's set me up. The thumbs allow us to type on the phone and send poop emojis to each other. That's what you can do with thumbs.
Yeah, they do. That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing. It's the way we've communicated. That's the new Neuralink. We're sending poop emojis to each other with our thumbs, and it makes us so much smarter than the animal kingdom. Yeah,
but
well,
we're also the only animal that records history. But we also see animals there's a few animals that figured out how to use tools. Very few animals actually know how to use tools. They've seen it with, primates, gorillas. Otters use rocks. And it just makes me question evolution and adaptation and human intervention. Because, I'm a fisherman. My dream at one time was actually to be a professional bass fisherman. I don't know if you know anything about that, but they have like Bassmasters. They have something called FLW, and it's real, real serious. Like I'm from the Northeast. It's not as popular up here, but it's like low grade NASCAR. Like down south, people are really into it. And I actually got really good. And when I got really into it and joined some real tournaments, I find I didn't like the people. Like I had someone flatten my tires. And I got kicked out of a club. I found that I liked fishing more than the career. But, I studied the biology of animals. And then I also studied the nature of humans, too, along that process. It was just interesting.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. I got to admit, I did put on that Bassmasters once, and I think I lasted about 90 seconds before I fell asleep. But it was a hell of a nap, I tell you what. It's a hell of a nap.
Yeah.
The only thing more boring than fishing, I mean, fishing's fun, right? Because, you're out there in the nature and it's all good. But it's chill time, right? Just chill time, right? For me, it's not competitive or anything, like just chill time. But the only thing more like kind of relaxing than that is watching somebody else fish because, man, I'm asleep before you can shake a stick at it. That's for sure. Definitely for
crazy.
sure. Yeah. So we got
you'd be surprised.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, we got a call behind you, so go ahead and let's wrap this up.
Nothing. I was just going to tell you about some.
No.
But,
I like that. No, go ahead. Final point. Go ahead, sir.
You'd be surprised if you study a creature that, people that get into it, they say fishing ain't luck. And if you actually study the fish are smart for reasons just embedded for them. And, that's how you figure them out. But what I was going to say, too, is also bass fishing, all right? They have crossbred bass in every lake. Like when you take your kids out fishing, when you catch a bass, that bass is most likely a hybrid or already genetically modified. Like that's how much influence human beings have had on the fishing industry. And there's a few famous largemouth bass strains like F2 and F1 Florida bass. They crossed them with bass from up north in Michigan because they're more aggressive. But that was back in the day. They've been doing that for forever. So you don't know. In the science world, it's like a delay what actually gets released to the public. Like stuff that we think is new has been done for a long time, but it still all relates to the animal things. But other than that, that's it.
Beechwood, thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Like I said, yeah, you're one of the ones that stirs the drink and keeps this community going, and I appreciate it a lot, my man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Thank you, my friend.
We'll talk to you soon, okay? Have a great night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. There you go. That's Beechwood from Massachusetts, and there you go. So if you've only heard bad things about folks from Massachusetts, well, now you can put that to rest because Beechwood has said it straight. Let's go. Speaking of bad things about people, let's go to the Copper Mustache from YouTube. So if you've heard that all the YouTubers out there are just liars and thieves, well, we've got the Copper Mustache from YouTube that's showing up to set that straight. How are you, my friend?
Hey, great, Dr. Doolittle. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. What's on your mind tonight?
A couple of things that I kind of picked up on while listening to this whole series, and first the comparison of cats and dogs throughout history. Why are just cats and dogs? I guess you put birds in there too, but mainly it's cats and dogs are the primary animals that have gravitated towards people. That we've gotten into this relationship, and this goes back not hundreds but thousands of years, right? I mean, it goes all the way back to the pharaohs. These animals hypnotized us. They loved us. We loved them. And those two particular animals have really done something to us, which is pretty amazing. And obviously, they picked up on a lot of our traits. And as we look throughout the years, one of your callers, I'm not a cat guy. I don't know much cat guy, but it really provoked me to look online, do a little research on it while we were listening to the broadcast. And what I found out was, in a short period of time, was that cats especially, they've been really busy in our history. They were busy with the alchemists. They were busy with the royalties. They were busy, obviously, in the farming communities with getting rid of pests and things like that. One of the things, too, is that they also are very good at people who are having issues, maybe not being able to socialize with other people as well. They've brought them out of their shells, so to speak, and brought them into the communities. Others who have had dementia at early ages have been able to survive on their own just with cats. It's pretty amazing stuff. And there's a lot of literature on there. Even the colors of the cats, they symbolize different things. Like the Tabby the Morris, the cat was a fat, happy cat. Yeah, they're happy cats. Black cats, everybody thinks of this thing, don't get near, don't let a cat walk, let a cat in front of you. It's opposite. They're actually extremely lucky. So there's just a lot of really cool folklore probably, and also history with cats. And then as far as dogs go, I've always been a dog guy. And I can tell you they've always been healers. I've experienced it myself. I've had over 9 golden retrievers and several other dogs over the period of my life. I had my father and my father-in-law who were in a retirement home. I used to take my golden retrievers over there, and not only would they feel so much better after I brought the golden retriever over there, other people would come up to them, and they would be like, the dogs would be like, hey, I know you're not feeling well. And they would stick their heads under their hands, to have them pet them because they knew they weren't feeling well. So they were in sync with us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can have been said about this relationship that we've gained over the years, between these two animals.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right. Like cats kind of get a bad rap, but they are intuitive as well. I had a cat growing up, and then when I was a young adult as well, and they're pretty amazing to me. I'm they say that people are cat people or dog people. I'm both. I love them both. I've had fantastic experiences with both of them. And you're right. I think if you go back to history, go back to the Egyptians, right? They worshipped cats as gods, even because of the weird I guess you could call it preternatural type supernatural abilities these cats seem to possess. And I think there's a reason for that, you know, that there's that empathy that a cat is kind of smart in their own way, and you have to really work to get them to do the things you want them to do, you know, like a dog, you just give the treats and say sit over and over, and eventually they'll just sit, you know, they'll do what they're told. But a cat, no such thing, man. They have a mind of their own, you know, but it doesn't mean that they're, you know, alien or monsters or bad or any of the rest of that. They can be as cuddly and lovable as dogs. It's just it's kind of how you treat them. It's the relationship. It's all the rest of that. I'm both. Real quick, this great comment from Katie on YouTube. You probably read this. I'm going to read it and get your take on this. Katie says, a 3-year-old filly of mine literally cried on my shoulder after she lost a race. I was hugging her around the neck. And if that doesn't tell you all you need to know about animals right there, I don't know what does, right? Like they feel that. It's just a race. It's dumb. It's simple. It's, you know, there's going to be another race tomorrow, the next day, or next week, but they feel it, you know, they feel that emotion.
They truly do, and it's crazy. I mean, when you think about it, the Sphinx is half cat, you know, three-quarters cat with human head on it, you know. So there's got to be something there. I mean, it's way back when, who knows what. But the other thing that's really cool too, not cool, but I guess it is cool, are all the series, and you're seeing more and more of these online, of dogs who are going to funerals of their owners, and they will not leave the grave. You know, and it's not just one or two odd cases; it's hundreds of them. You know, they'll sit there and they'll just lay on the grave. Now, it could be because of some smell or whatever, but I mean, the human body is put into two different boxes and buried 6 feet under, and you have a super duper sniffer to smell that. You know. So, you know, and obviously they can't read. So, you know, that's another amazing fact that these animals are doing. That it's almost like they were put on Earth to be with us and protect us. So, you know, however you believe, it's just amazing when you look into these animals' stories.
Agreed, 100%. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Dog.
Okay.
Copper mustaches. I had golden retrievers as copper, and I used to have a mustache.
I see.
Copper mustache.
I see. You shaved that off, right? Because, I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah. I should. I shaved off. Was getting too long.
In 1977, you shaved that off. Please tell me. Okay.
Yeah, I know I shaved off a couple of years ago, but I started in 1977.
All right, fair enough. You're the best, my friend. So at the end of this, what do you think? Do you think there's so we can agree there's like animals have this empathic connection to people. I think there's no doubt there, right? There's like kind of like I said earlier when Michael J called nature magic, right? There's like a if you open yourself up to it, I believe there is an inherent magic in nature, and that it's all one organism, you know, like the Gaia hypothesis. Earth is one huge living organism, but it may not be because of the Earth itself, right? Like Mars, they say, is just a rocky planet with no life whatsoever. It's just a big rock in space. But Earth has an entire ecosystem, and it's not just the atmosphere. It's not just the water. It's everything. It's the animals. It's the trees. It's us. It's the whole deal. And with this empathic thing, I think that it's easy to say that, yeah, fine, you know, there's a connection there. But do you think there's anything in the paranormal realm about any of that?
I don't know. I do know that animals are actually more in tune with the Earth than humans are. I mean, they obviously know how to hunt. They know how to stay away from predators. They know how to sense things much better than a human would be. You take a stray cat who's been in the house for 100 years, or a dog who's been in the house for 100 years, you throw them out in the woods, and you throw a human out in the woods, I guarantee you the cat or the dog are going to do better than the human. You know? So I think they're more in tune with the Earth and its surroundings. But as far as the paranormal, I think that's a hard one to call for, because there has been issues in the past. that have alerted certain animals to things. Look again at the dogs who are hovering over the graves. So, I mean, there's got to be something going on there. I don't know what, but yeah, I think they're a little more in tune than we are. Maybe they're more open-minded. Who knows?
No, they have no thumbs to send poop emojis. So, I mean, I think they're a step ahead of us.
yeah.
Right? I mean, no devices, no technology. No, my mom calls the cat looking outside through the window calls that kitty TV, right? Because they're like just mesmerized with like the outdoors or whatever, right? The things going on out there, the birds flying, the cars driving by. It's like simple things, and they're just mesmerized. Yeah, definitely good stuff. So maybe not. Maybe not a paranormal connection, but maybe this nature magic, like I was kind of saying, maybe that is that paranormal connection where we're all kind of one.
Yeah,
organism.
I mean, there could be some paranormal things. I mean, as I mentioned earlier in the comments on the side, I mean, there is the Skinwalker Ranch stuff that talks about a lot of animals and the way they behaved with these very unusual circumstances, and help me out here. I don't speak Spanish very well. Caparupa, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
That's a goat sucker.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you're native woods. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, those are animals that, in that particular case, that's an animal that is actually coming out of apparently, it's coming out of a force field of some sort, and leaving in a force field of some sort. So, yeah, I mean, you must have them all over the place, right?
Yeah, I can buy it. I can definitely think that whether it's just a scientific electromagnetic thing or whether it's a little bit more mysterious than that, I think there's definitely something going on with pets. And again, right? I think in the end it makes a great conversation. Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you put up content on your YouTube channel? By the way, I haven't checked.
Do I? No, I don't have a YouTube channel.
Okay. If you did, I was going to plug it. I was going to plug it for you. But okay, go ahead, sir.
No, I bother you instead.
Perfect. No bother.
But yeah, no. But it is pretty amazing because in all of this, it's been going on for centuries and just from the beginning of time. So it's not like. And what's amazing is you could probably. If you really took something and you said, "Oh, that's crazy," and you actually took it to a meeting where you studied it, and you really studied it, it would end up being a science. It would take you to science, and science will prove it either yay or nay, right? But a lot of times it will say, "Well, you know what? There are segments of this that make sense or is unexplainable in science," and that's when it becomes conspiracy.
Right, exactly. It's funny that literally everything could be conspiracy. I mean, the more you think about it, you're like, well, yep, totally, totally.
And it shouldn't be. It should be studied to exhausted on it, and then become conspiracy.
Right. Well, and
we tendency to do right away. Oh, I saw a gopher fly into the Mars, and it's there's a conspiracy.
Right,
there's gophers in Mars. It's not like anybody studied it, But if you studied it and they said, "Hey, sure enough, look at that, there's gophers with little rocket ships put up there." Yeah, okay.
Right.
Well, we can't explain that. Let's deal with that.
The thing is this,
but,
though. Right?
No,
you're right. But the thing
filters,
is this.
Right?
Yeah. So regarding conspiracies, though, like in an honest world, conspiracies don't exist, because we just have all the information and everything's as honest as it can be. But like in a disgustingly deceptive, dishonest world, it becomes conspiracy land, and that's where we live. It's unfortunate, but it's. I mean, it's great for conversation. But sorry, go ahead. Go right ahead.
The most famous conspiracies are those that are backed by fact. JFK being one example.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The most famous ones are backed by some kind of fact. And if you get that fact behind it and it's a conspiracy, so conspiracies, you can prove it, just like in America, you're not guilty until proven innocent or whatever. It's not real until you can prove it. But I can say a fact. Now, all of a sudden, that conspiracy brings in a lot of factors to it. And that's what brings it really into play. And that's what people have to be more assertive on. Not just running off on every little whim that there is, but to do some studying on it. Hey, think it's something? Yeah, study it.
Yeah.
Make sure it's happening.
Give it some time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's phony, the truth will set you free, and it'll present itself if you spend some time too. So again, that's what the show's all about. Fantastic call, fantastic conversation. I appreciate you listening every night and calling in and being part of this, my man. Anything else while we got you on?
Thank you very much, Dr. Doolittle, man. Have a great night.
Thanks, man. Copper Mustache from YouTube. There we go. Appreciate the call. If you guys want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about animals. We're talking about the sixth sense of animals. Do you think that the empathic variety of an animal is basically built into nature? Do you think this innate type of sense connection with people or connection with nature and each other? Again, do you think it's part of God's green earth, or do you think it's something else entirely? Do you think there's something paranormal to this? Some people suggest that dogs or cats can see spirits, right? And things like this. We had people call in and say that tonight even, that said that their dogs or cats had seen these things. One of the funny things, I was trying to pull this meme up. I can't remember who posted this on Twitter. This is from like 2 weeks ago. So this is kind of before like this whole idea for the show kind of came about. Again, shout out to Alexandra if you're still listening out there from the Fringe Discord that called in from British Columbia there. She actually kind of set this up by asking these questions in the Fringe Discord. And this is how shows are made, guys. Let me tell you this. The important thing, just real fast, as an aside, before I get back to that. If you want a show done and something talked about where you can call in and be part of it, just let me know. Just join the Discord, troubleminds.org, click the Discord link. I'm open to it. If you want to be co-host for part of it or all of it or whatever, right? It's all good. Like I said, this is our show. This is not Linda Moulton Howe's show or George Knapp's show. No offense to those people, they're fine. But you don't have to be those folks to be on this show, okay? You just have to be you. And you just have to have an idea about what you're talking about, and you don't have to worry about fumbling because you got me. If you fumble, I'll pick you up. It's okay. It's all right. You're invited. If you're listening and you can hear this right now, you're invited to be on this show, okay? It's important. It's an important distinction to make. This community is growing, and you can see all the smart people who are part of this. And I don't want to exclude folks that are like, well, I'm too shy, or I don't think I could talk for 10 minutes straight, or you know what I mean? It's cool. I got you. You falter, I'll pick you up. If you want to be part of the show, please do. Tonight, I'm going to put the phone number again, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord. You can call in tonight if you want to suggest a show or be part of a future show. That's the hardest part of this show, is trying to figure out what to talk about each show. Putting it together and doing it is a breeze at this point. 3 years solid. 3 years this week. Troubled Minds has a birthday. All right, it's good. It's a good thing. I've gotten good enough at it where it's sometimes it's not the best, but good enough to where it's just not terrible all the time, right? And that's really all you need to be, where you need to be. But that's the point. If you guys want to be part of it, it helps a lot. One, with the ideas of what you want to talk about, and two, your takes. Like I said, you guys know what I think. I'm on the microphone most of the time. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Shout out to Alexandra from BC. If she's still listening, I don't know. But that's how these conversations begin, right? You join the Discord, you kind of mix it up, you talk about some things, and there's a lot of things that need to be talked about, a lot of things that other folks are not talking about. And that's why we do it kind of in this open forum format, and why we talk about these things. So just FYI, just shout out to all you guys out there. If you're listening and you know what's going on and all the rest of this stuff, you are welcome to be on the show tonight or any other time. Just letting you know. You don't have to be George Knapp or Linda Moulton Howe. We got a phone call coming in. We'll take this in just a sec. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're talking about animals and their sixth sense. Is it some sort of paranormal thing, or do you think it could be explained scientifically? And what's going on with this? That's really what we're on about tonight. 702-957-1037. Join the Discord, troubleminds.org, and get in here. Let's do it. Good stuff. Let's go to this phone call. I think this is a new phone number. You are on Trouble Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Matt from Oregon.
Matt from Oregon. What's up? How are you doing tonight?
How's it going? Good. Can you hear me?
Hear you perfectly. Go right ahead.
Okay. I have a soft voice, so if you can't hear me, let me know.
No, you're good.
And Mike, thank you for. I want to say a shout out to you, man. Thanks for what you do. The show helped me. I got bullied a lot for this kind of stuff we're talking about every night. So I appreciate you have the show that we can talk about this stuff, and I really like what you do.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That was the idea. Again, you can't talk about this stuff in the water cooler, right? You get shit on. It ain't right. But what's on your mind tonight? So, do you have pets? What do you think about this whole pet conversation?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a buddy back in the day. They had like a bunch of pets. They had like dogs and cats. And they had chickens and lizards and all kinds of birds. They had all kinds of hamsters and stuff. And when they passed away, back then we would just go bury them in the backyard. And so I remember like his dad would go like bury the pets in the backyard, and we'd like, say a little thing for Fluffy or whatever, and have a little funeral. And they like buried, and there was like you couldn't walk without stepping where they would bury pets. And like I don't know what it did there. It, like opened a portal or like did something, because like there was a lot of paranormal stuff we had there. There's like when I was a kid, like a lot of paranormal stuff happened there. And they had like their dogs would like bark at the wall, and there's like nothing there.
So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you.
Yeah, there's dog. Go ahead.
As part of this, though, do you yourself or anybody around them? The thing is, to kind of corroborate this in my mind, I want to know if there's any kind of like spiritual activity that was happening otherwise, right? That maybe these dogs picked up on that somebody else maybe noticed, or was it just kind of disconnected and it's just a weird thing with the dogs? I think that's probably like an important thing to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the land. It's haunted, or it could be anything that these dogs are barking at. But yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff there. A lot of like my first paranormal experiences happened there. And like I researched the stuff, I learned about it, and when I was a kid I was scared. But like I learned about it, and the more I learned about it, the less kind of scared I got. But I definitely believe in the dog, the animals picking up on things, and it's like we think it's paranormal, but it's not paranormal, it's normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So people call it paranormal, but like there's a lot of these things that are actually normal. And though, let me say, since this is a conspiracy show, therein lies the conspiracy. Isn't it weird that like we can basically see these things in nature that we can't explain, but everybody knows are a thing, but nobody really discusses because, well, it's paranormal. But it's not. It's normal because everybody knows it exists. It's just because you can't quantify it in nature or it hasn't been measured yet, then you're a weirdo for talking about it. And therein lies the conspiracy, my friend.
And I have another story. That's not paranormal, but it kind of proves how like animals can pick up on things. And I was at a buddy's house, and the dog was like freaking out, and his dog's like digging at the floor, and we didn't know what was going on. And like I left, but like he told me that he woke up in the middle of the night and his smoke alarm was going off, and he smelled like burning plastic, and the dog, like when he woke up and went, and there was like smoke, and his apartment was coming on fire from like a wire inside the floor.
Holy shit! The dog knew
that caught his house. It was like catching his house on fire slowly, and like the dog like knew it as it was happening before the smoke or anything happened. So I thought that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And so like
go ahead.
Yeah, the evolution of like animals and stuff. If you guys watch do you guys watch the show The Cosmos with Denise Now Tyson?
Yes. I watch that from time to time.
Yeah, with Carl Sagan and all that. He did one on like wolves, like how man like took a wolf and like trained it, and like all dog breeds we have now are from a wolf.
Like a particular. Actually, funny you bring up that exact episode. I've seen that exact episode. There's probably 20 of them.
Yeah,
it's in a seen 3 of them.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon.
Yeah, good stuff.
But it shows you like how man like helped breed down to dogs we have now, to all the breeds of dogs we have now, came from that one line. So that's kind of interesting too, is like how, you know, they could have that sixth sense also. And other things of like human or like pet evolution or animal evolution of like, you know how like baseball players wear like the black line under their eye.
Yeah.
To reflect the sun.
Yeah, they say reflect
like,
the sun.
Yep. Yeah, you look at like a cheetah hunt, and like so like evolution of that animal like made them have a black eye to reflect the sun.
The sports ready.
And there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
right.
There's all kinds of stuff like that we were talking about earlier in the show about like how bats have echolocation and things, and like the evolution of a pet, like how an animal, like a dog's nose is long so it could smell, and a cat's ears are long so it could hear.
Right, exactly.
Like how the animals have evolved through time, and things like a hawk eye or like a falcon's eye is like long, like straight, so it can like see far, and like a goat's eye is like square, so it can see like, because it's you know.
So see
it's
wide.
Prey,
it's like a wide angle lens.
You can see wide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of trippy how like animal, like the evolution of an animal has come down to, you know, evolving them to have these like powers, kind of like every animal has its own kind of special power.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have thumbs so we can send poop emojis, right? That's right. Superpower. I just want to point out that Tim in the chat said this while I was making jokes about people and poop emojis. He said that people don't. We tend to not give people enough credit, and I agree with him. Those are jokes. Those are just. If I can work in a poop emoji here or there, I'm all about it. So anyway, sorry. Go right ahead, sir. I digress.
But yeah, man, great topic, great show tonight. Thank you for letting me be part of that, and kind of like make you guys kind of think about things and like laugh, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think again, right? We sometimes we take things just way too seriously. And I'll be honest. I'll be perfectly honest. When I was a younger man, I was that guy. I was a poopy pants son of a bitch, right? I was just like always mad about things, and you know, like sometimes we have to be able to laugh at ourselves, you know. And it's okay to be wrong. And it kind of when you frame it that way, and just understand that, you know, everybody else is kind of trying to live your same experience and get by just like you are. We're not so different, are we? Really, right? A lot of themes of this show. That's a big one. You were a first-time caller, are you not?
Yeah, long-time listener. I've listened for about 2 years now, and I'm always listening. I'm like, man, that happened to me, or I totally believe this guy. Calling, you know. Okay, don't believe me. Don't believe me. Remember, that's part of the rules of this show. You don't believe what I say. You have to double check and measure it against your own experience and think for yourself. Just saying, just make sure. But yeah, I did notice it's a brand new phone number that I've seen, so I wanted to say thank you for calling tonight. But I'm not cutting you off. If you got more, go ahead. No, thank you. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to call in again, though, sometime, because I like what you do, okay?
I appreciate it.
You keep doing what you do.
Is it Max or Matt?
Matt, M-A-T-T.
Matt from Oregon, long-time listener, first-time caller. I appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling tonight. We'll talk to you soon, okay? God bless you and the family.
Right on, man. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Thanks. There you go. Look at that, right? We got a first-time caller that did fantastic, and I didn't even act like an ass. How about that? Do I get the not act like an ass? Yeah, the badge, the merit badge. I don't know. Not Timothy. Gregory, are you out there? Do I get the merit badge of not acting like an ass to the first time caller? Anyway, if you guys want to be part of the show tonight, we are talking about animals and their sixth sense, right? I got some other stuff we can talk about, which is cool. But like you know, and like we always talk about, I'd rather listen to you guys. I'd rather listen to what you guys have to say about this and what's going on. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, we got about 20 minutes left, and we're going to keep on trucking. We're going to keep on talking about animals and their sixth sense, right? Like we were kind of talking about how when the tsunami was happening, I think it was Thailand, and there was another one in Indonesia in the last 20 years, which was a huge amount of like dead people. Like it was an unbelievable amount. Like the death toll was staggering. Like you go look at those numbers, and it's probably, well, I'm not going to say the C word, the pandemic. I'm not going to say that, but I think there's a lot of damn people that died in those tsunamis. And so part of the reason I'm bringing it up is because the animals were said to have vacated. They knew something was coming, right? They knew it was on the way. So what was it? Like, is there something in the air? Did they feel the tremor of the earthquake that was by the coast? And here's the thing too. The weird thing about that is, let's say you're a bird, right? How long does a robin live, or just a standard like bird that that lives out there wherever 20 years, 15 years, something like that. I'm pretty sure these birds don't live to be 100 years old, where they've seen multiple tsunamis in their life. But for some reason, the animals that kind of sensed whatever was about to happen, this tsunami, they all cleared out. They knew what was coming, right? And how the hell do they know, right? Again, so it's like, we're born, we learn new things, we go to school, we're educated by our parents, and, we learn from life and all the rest of this, right? But then there's also this thing that's kind of built into our DNA to really ascertain and decide what's dangerous. And that's part of the problem, right? Not part of the problem, I guess it's part of the solution, is that many of these things, if we pay attention, are built into us, like the spider sense, as it were, right? Kind of that my spider sense is tingling, right? That sort of thing. And so, I don't know. I mean, here we are talking about it. Anyway, rather hear from you than have me ramble on, but it's okay. I got some stuff to talk about. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Like we talked about tonight, here's one. This is the dogs. The dogs poop in alignment with the magnetic field, right? Which tells you exactly what the hell's going on with dogs and how they actually, they have these senses that we may or may not have. Let's see. Thanks. Matt says, thanks. I want to call all the time, but too nervous. Hey, I got you. Look. What's up? Shout out to Supervike. Supervike he sent me a private message, and he said, look, he's all, Mike, one of your strengths is you make the people that call feel comfortable. Hey, I didn't say it. Somebody else said it. What's up, Supervike? Listening to the show all the time. I appreciate it. He hasn't been here live in a little while, but he listens to the archives for sure. But there you go. You call, and I got you. It's okay. The thing about being nervous is you don't want to kind of like just start talking and then stop and not know what to say. But I'm here. I'm here for you. So you'll notice it's like a social cue for me. If you're talking and you stop and pause, I'll try and jump in there because I'm trying to pick you up, right? That's what I'm trying to do. But if you continue, I'm going to shut up because you just keep talking. It's fine. You see, but I'm trying to jump in there and save you, let you collect your thoughts. And, it's cool. I understand. Talking for 3 hours straight is not easy. It's been 3 years of me getting decent at it. I'm still not good. I'm decent, right? But it's a lot of practice. I understand. But if you want to be part of the show, love to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. I got you. I will pick you up if you falter. It's part of the shtick. It's part of why we do us together, and this is all part of the thing. So here we go. Again, PBS.org reports this. The dogs poop in alignment with Earth's magnetic field, right? So, poop emoji. We can go back to that because it was funny. But, right, then we have this other one. We have the science news for students, and then it's not the only one. We didn't even get into like spirit animals or familiar spirits tonight because the topic is so fantastic. Lots of people want to talk about this. That's good. What's up? Let's see. What else do we got? With Carlos, we got Katie. We got who else? Who else am I missing? I got the ass badge. Mike gets the ass badge. Maybe. Let's see. John says, I am judging you harshly because social norms are to trash each other and not support each other. That's okay. That's all right. I actually am okay getting trolled because guess what? I have the hang up button and I've been doing this long enough that I can spot a troll a mile away. So it's all good. It's all good. I understand you're joking. I'm joking back at you. Paz says, well, I have a rockin' radio voice. Well, get your ass on the phone, Paz. 702-957-1037. I'm putting the thing up. I'm going to talk about this. Now, look, we talked about this a little while ago. This is from an article from April 4th, 2005, talking about this tsunami, right? A few days before the Asian tsunami several months ago, a person living in Thailand watched thousands upon thousands of ants. Even the ants knew a tsunami was coming. You understand? Thousands upon thousands of ants rush away from the beach into the forest. According to other accounts, elephants screamed and ran to higher ground as many as 10 days before disaster struck. 10 days, people. 10 days. Meaning they sensed an earthquake was building that was so massive it would be catastrophic to the area. And they left. They're like, fuck this, I'm out, right? But that's the point. Is that a sixth sense? And here's the thing. Let's say an elephant lives, 40 years, I think, something like that, somewhere in that range. Correct me if I'm wrong. But how on God's green earth are they supposed to know if in their lifetime a tsunami has never happened? You see, it's built into the DNA. It's built into something. It's part of this, nature magic that I call it. I realize it's a poor term, but you understand, right? We end up kind of all together on this planet and end up really talking about some wacky stuff, some good stuff. Let's see. Here we go. All right. What else do we got? So some people say that animals have a special kind of power for sensing the future. They call it a sixth sense. And this is straight from this article from, I'll put it up so you can see what I'm reading. They call it a sixth sense, above and beyond the five senses we normally talk about: taste, smell, touch, sight, and hearing. And that's where I'm reading if you guys want to follow along. The scientific evidence for an animal sixth sense, however, is slim, says John Caprio. He's a neurobiologist at Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge. How am I saying it? I'm not from the South, forgive me. He studies taste and smell in fish. If reports about animals escaping danger are actually true, Caprio says, the animals must be responding to real sensations rather than using some mysterious type of otherworldly perception. These aren't strange or paranormal events, he says. Over generations, animals have developed their senses in ways that allow them to detect sounds, smells, vibrations, or other sensations that people can't detect. Which, of course, is, again, sure, fine. But how the hell do ants know to vacate when a tsunami is on the way, right? I think we have some pretty weird stuff here, and I think it's worth a conversation. Thank you, Robert. That's a nice compliment. You mean I could diarrhea of the mouth and talk about all kinds of nothing? It's still interesting. I'm not sure if that's a compliment anymore, the way I put it. Here we go. So a wide spectrum. This article says this. We use our senses to gather information all the time, from cafeteria smells that you tell you it's almost lunchtime to the look of your teacher's face that says she's about to pop a quiz. But there's more to the world than meets the eye: nose, skin, ears, and tongue. Scientists have discovered a variety of unexpected ways that animals and even people sense the world around them. For one thing, there's a whole spectrum of light and sound that lies beyond what we normally see or hear. And that's exactly what Tim was saying earlier when he's called in. There's an entire like light spectrum that we really can't even determine as people. And this was my argument against when I was a young man. And odd how some things kind of come full circle in some senses. But my argument against the people kind of arguing about God and the existence of God is I said when I was like a 20-year-old man that like, hey, look, we're just not qualified to make that call. Like it's a question too big for people and that's exactly the things I pointed out. Like just the just the light spectrum, right? That we cannot perceive with human eyes. And then the different frequencies we cannot hear with human ears. Like there's literally a universe around us that's incredibly large, and we perceive so little of it that we end up, making up some things, right? Filling in some gaps, and anyway, et cetera, so on. So anyway, what's up? The Twilight Zone. All right, let's see. What do we got? We got. Let's see how much time we got left. We got a few minutes left. Let's go one more time. Beechwood, you are. What's up, my friend? Real quick, Beechwood, you're on the show with Mike. Go right ahead, sir.
All right, man. I hated to do this call so many times, but the last pitch I had was for the show, and I forgot to mention what I was going to say when I called earlier. But, for anybody that listens to the show, number one, if you want to make fun of me, go ahead. I don't care. Like, that's what I'm here for. I don't care. I'm open to anything. So
good,
don't be embarrassed to call. Like, if just say anything. I'll back you up. If anybody makes fun of you, I'll come on and back you up. Whatever you believe, I'm down for it. Just call.
There you go. You got me and Beechwood backing you up. Thank you.
So
continue, sir.
That's the first pitch. And then the last thing I wanted to say, if anybody at all owns animals, please do not take your anger out on your animal. If you own a dog, please never fight dogs. You know, people that do dog fighting, anything, please, like, never do that, please. That's all I ask of anybody. A dog or a cat, an animal that you're bonded to, will literally die for you. So do not abuse that privilege. And you can make those bonds. You don't have to like animals. But if you do, that's how much an animal will love you. An animal will actually die for you.
And that's true.
And that's all I asked.
There you go. I agree with you.
That's the only thing I wanted to pitch, was to call the show and be friendly to your fellow animal. And I know I eat meat too, but that's another bridge, as you say, another can of worms.
Another can of worms. We'll talk about that next time. Beechwood, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for the call. All right, there you go. There you go. See, Beechwood says don't be scared to call. It's okay, guys. Just speak your mind. That's, again, like I said, think of it this way. We had that Matt from Oregon, a great first time caller. Lots of calls tonight. As people start to get comfortable calling, you understand I'm not here to troll you. I'm not here to make you look like a fool. That's not what this is about. This is about having a conversation, respecting each other. It's as this grows and we get a lot more people, it's going to be it just becomes a more interesting conversation, right? What's up, Tam Bam? How you doing? Thanks for being here tonight, South Africa in the house. Thanks for showing up. John wants to know, can we fight our children? I guess it depends on how big they are. Are they a threat? I'm just kidding. All right, don't fight your children. Don't fight your animals. Tamron says people who hurt animals should be punished the same way as people who hurt humans. And there's a lot of truth in that statement. So all right, so as we wind this up, we got just a few minutes left. The thing is this, right? We're talking about. So I had all this stuff prepared. Check this out. I'm gonna just buzz through this. I'll put these links up. Now, this is the best part about this show. Is we started with a particular thing in mind, right? I have like kind of a loose outline, but I don't know where we're going to go, because sometimes we get phone calls that take us to different places, right? And so whatever the arc in my mind happened to be, it doesn't end up happening because of the phone calls. And that to me is the beauty of this show, because we really kind of never know what we're going to get. I start with like kind of a loose idea, and I talk until the phones come in. And then the phone calls come in, and then it turns it into whatever it is. And so I have to be prepared in case nobody calls. So I always have, like we used to say in the old days, like Frank and I would say, 25 or 30 or 40% of the stuff we prepare ends up on the cutting room floor. We never even talk about it. It's more than that now. Like I've prepared. Here you go. I want to just watch these links real quick. So I'm going to just buzz through these if you're watching the stream. Here's all the stuff I prepared tonight to talk about, because, well, there's a lot of things, right? We're going to get into familiar spirits and this type of stuff. Which familiars and whether they're demons or guardian spirits, guardian angels, right? Tons of stuff. Like actually, all this stuff's low. Can dogs see ghosts? There's a ton of stuff here, right? Tons and tons and tons of stuff. I know it's all loading fast, but. Bing, 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 bing. There's a lot of things to talk about, and it's okay. My point is, I'd rather take this where this conversation goes. And if I had this big arc planned, when we never get there, it's okay. We'll peel off a piece of it and we'll talk about it another time. But the point is that this show is about us, right? This show's about us getting together and talking about these things. And I'm glad that we get just a little ways in, and then everybody starts calling and giving us their takes. That's what this is about. And like I said, I can't thank all of you enough for listening tonight. I can't thank all of you enough for being part of this and calling in and doing all the things. Like I said, please, if you want to help the show, you guys, there's 1,000 ways you can do it. Whatever podcast platform you're listening on, go leave us a review. Spread the word. Just tell somebody. It's as simple as that. Old school style, right? Like just spread the word. Just say, hey, look. This is a place you can come talk about all these crazy things that nobody wants to talk about, and nobody thinks you're insane. You see? I mean, to me, there's a huge amount of value in that. You're not crazy for thinking these things. You're just not. And that's what there you go. That's one of the underlying themes of this show and what we always talk about. So there it is. There it is. Yeah, Robert says one day Frank will call into the show. He's threatened, actually. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Good stuff. Let's see. What do we got? Pat says, I'm a carnivore. What's up? John says, I did 20 pigs in one afternoon. So much work, it was overwhelming. Seems like you need a team there, bro. You need a team. What's up, Sherry? Good stuff. Tam says, let me just clarify. There's a difference between survival and nutrition or protein and essential fatty acids. One gets from meat, then killing and hurting animals out of anger or fun. Yes. Right, exactly. There's survival and there's not. And again, that's a whole different conversation, which I'm not sure we're going to get into sometime. I don't know. It's I think that's probably something for Fox News, to be perfectly honest. But it's a valid statement. I just mean that I think if we get into that, it's so divisive. People that are kind of entrenched in their diets, it ends up people fighting with each other. So as you know, I think it's worth talking about in many cases, but we don't talk about things that are going to be so divisive like that. So, but I understand. You're completely right, Tam. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We're done. It's 10 p.m. All right, let's say, well, you let Frank out. Now, Frank's not in a cage, guys. Frank is not in a cage. Frank is fine. Frank is fine. There you go. Tim says, if you get hungry enough, your humanity will leave quickly. Quick story. I was in a local grocery store, and I was there with Mrs. Strange, and we were just picking some stuff. And this was actually COVID time a little bit, kind of around just after the panic buy situation. And so we're in this particular grocery store, and there's a dude there stocking vegetables. Right, he's in the vegetable aisle. He's stocking the lettuce or something. And he just this guy is how some people just want to talk to you. It's just weird. They they just want to talk. And so we're there shopping, and this guy's working stocking the aisle. And he's just hey, blah, 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 whatever, right? And we're just talking about groceries and things. And then he's dumb stuff. And then he's he says, if people get hungry enough, they'll eat anything, right? Because it was kind of post-COVID, emergency shopping and shit like this. And so it was what? He kind of slowed it down. He's just like what Tim said right there. If you get hungry enough, your humanity will leave quickly. That's not what this guy said, but that's kind of what he meant. And so, yeah, of course, it had turned really dark really fast. And the supermarket employee was what was it? I can't remember. They were coming over the pass, the Oregon Pass, and they ended up beating each other. Anyway, we didn't mean to go that dark, but it went that dark in the grocery store with the employee. I was like, holy shit, were you talking about cannibalism in the vegetable aisle? What the fuck is this? It was pretty crazy. Anyway, just a quick funny story that kind of adds to what Tim said there. You guys are the best, and we're done. There you go, Rachel. And on that night, y'all, thanks for hanging out with us. I appreciate it a lot. Here we go. We're going to play this outro just like this, and we're done. You guys want to be part of the show? You know what to do. Let me know. Join the Discord, please. If you want to be, you have a suggestion for a show, love to hear it. Probably going to talk about George Knapp. He released some new UFO stuff tomorrow we'll talk about. Otherwise, if you have an idea of something else and you want to talk about that, let me know. Again, like I said, I'm open to this stuff. The hardest part is not doing the show. The hardest part is thinking about what to talk about. And for that, we have each other. We have you. It's a big advantage. The shows tonight, the first one was inspired by the Night Stalker on Discord. The second one was inspired by Alexandra on Discord. What's happening tomorrow night, guys? Get on the Discord. Sling me some links and promise you'll call in. That's all I want. I just want somebody to say, hey, talk about this. I'd love to talk about it with you. And that's what we do. I appreciate it. Again, Troubled Minds, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you want to help out, tell a friend. Come listen. Spread the word. Download the podcasts. Do all the things. We're all over the damn place. The Donner Party. That's it. Thank you, Robert. That's the one I was trying to think of. It escaped my mind because, well, after 3 hours of rambling on. Many things escape my mind. Anyway, you guys are the best. Thank you again, Robert, for sending me these books. I'm going to read this stuff. Good stuff. And the rest of you guys, thanks for being part of this. And you, Robert. I'll include you. Robert. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being part of this. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific, more Troubled Minds. Ash is out of town. He went to Jupiter this weekend. So that's why no Ash tonight. He should be back next week on Wednesday. But tomorrow it'll be us again. Fringe FM, 7 p.m. And we'll be back doing 3 hours, 2 hours on Fringe, 1 hour with us, 1 hour singular with us. Let's roll. Let's do it. Get to the chopper. What are you waiting for? As we finish, you guys know the drill. What's up, Darius? What's up, David? I see you there. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Matt. This is the thing. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Be sure, be strong, be true. Don't be gaslighted by the Marxist. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Thanks for hanging out. From our Troubled Minds to yours, thanks for listening. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, David. Thanks, NS. Copper Mustache. Katie. Peace out. You guys are the best. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Larry. There you go. There you go. Larry's awful quiet these days. Thank you, Tim. See you guys tomorrow night. We've got 20 seconds of music left, so I'll just see who else. Cheers. Diane. Good night, guys. Peace. Peace and love in the Middle East.